1819 News.
The Department of Government Efficiency, otherwise known as DOGE, has announced another round of cuts to federal departments that will affect money coming to the state of Alabama. The cuts were made to the Departments of Commerce, Agriculture, and Justice. Those cuts are of federal grants that were intended to come to institutions here in Alabama. The total amount is $3.5 million. The three grants from the Department of Agriculture were intended for Auburn University, Tuskegee University, and Alabama A&M University. The grants were regarding a fire apprenticeship program, a climate change outreach initiative, a beef producer symposium, and research on inherited property. The U.S. Department of Justice will cut a grant to the Nonviolence, Truth, and Reconciliation Center in Selma, and the Department of Commerce is cutting a grant to the Mobile Area Chamber of Commerce. I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
Ryan Dawson here, CEO of 1819 News. I'm also the host of 1819 News, the podcast, and we'd love for you to join us by listening to our weekly show on all the top podcast apps, both in audio and video format. At 1819 News, the podcast, we are in pursuit of a free and flourishing Alabama. Every week, we're having important conversations with guests from across this great state, all with the goal of equipping Alabamians to be in pursuit of a free and flourishing Alabama with us. New episodes are released weekly. I hope you'll join us.
Police have caught up with the suspect in a sexual assault case that occurred last month at a park in Montgomery. Montgomery police have now arrested 41-year-old Chorus Calloway after the victim reported the rape to authorities on April 5th at the Blunt Cultural Park. Funeral plans are now set for a Birmingham police officer who died last week in a motorcycle crash. Officer Marlon Moore was off duty at the time of that accident. He has been serving on the Birmingham Police Department since 2019. Funeral services will be held this Tuesday at the New Pilgrim Baptist Church, and burial will be at Brighton Cemetery in Brighton. I'm Andrea Tyson.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
Hi there, I'm Kim Williams with Alabama Home Mortgage. For years, I've been asking you to call me at Alabama Home Mortgage because there is a difference in mortgage companies. When you call Alabama Home Mortgage, from the moment we pick up the phone, you will hear the difference. We are passionate about what we do. To us, you're not just another applicant. When you call on us, you are trusting that we have your best interest at heart, and we do. We treat our customers like family, and that's why our customers turn into family, coming back to us time and time again. We know you have many options when it comes to mortgage financing, and we appreciate the opportunity to earn your business. We are excited to hear from you. Give Alabama Home Mortgage a call at 567-4223. That's 567-4223. Or visit us online at myalabamahomemortgage.com to complete an application on your time. Our passion is just one difference that sets us apart from the rest. It's not just a slogan. Call Alabama Home Mortgage because, folks, there is a difference in mortgage companies. NMLS 1586-368, Equal Housing Lender.
Since 1966, Alabama Sheriff's Youth Ranches has been more than just a place to stay. It's been a place to belong. For children facing hardships through no fault of their own, our ranches provide more than shelter. We offer a warm home, a loving family, and a future filled with hope. With open arms, we welcome these young hearts, giving them the love, structure, and guidance they need to heal, grow, and thrive in a warm Christian environment. Together, we can give Alabama's children the chance they deserve, a chance to dream, to succeed, and to feel truly cherished. Every donation stays within Alabama, directly impacting the lives of the children who need it most. Join us in making a difference. Visit AlabamaSheriff'sYouthRanches.org. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and download our app from your app store. We'd be honored to have you as a part of our mission to lift up Alabama's youth. And remember this, it's easier to build boys and girls than to repair men and women.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
They told us nothing but lies.
These timeshare thieves out there are terrible.
They bullied us.
Our timeshare is all a scam.
They stole from us. They were thieves.
I was completely taken advantage of.
Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, founder and CEO of Wesley Financial Group, and I know the tough spot you're in. Are you asking yourself, why did I buy that timeshare? I'll tell you why, because that presentation wasn't a normal sales pitch. It was a show to convince you that timeshare is a great investment. They told you it was available today and today only. They said you're foolish if you don't buy, and unfortunately, you believed them. We get over 3,000 complaints a week from folks just like you that were misled into buying a timeshare. give us a call. I guarantee you, if we take you as a client, we will cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free information kit. 800-935-3377. 800-935-3377. 800-935-3377.
Paid for by Wesley Financial Group.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
We live in the Southeast. We drink sweet tea. We don't drink socialist Kool-Aid.
Joey Park. Welcome into the program here on a beautiful, though a little slightly overcast Tuesday out of Montgomery, Alabama. Hope everybody's having a great day today. And, well, there's a lot to get to. Of course, over the weekend, Trump ended speculation he would be a 3-term president. Oh, really? You took the joke. You took the trolling seriously. Well, whose fault is that? Also, it looks like some people are realizing that due process doesn't mean like a full trial, that we're going to get millions of show trials. In some cases, it might be a judge just looking at a thing and going, yep, that's cool, get them out. Also, as I mentioned yesterday, Bibi Netanyahu promising to conquer Gaza, saying, quote, this will not be a short operation. And in just 100 days, Doge has completely changed the U.S. Treasury payment system. New system catches fraudulent payment requests. Democrats have turned on Senator John Fetterman. And, well, Sugar has signed the state budgets. Applauds the state for investing in proven programs. Man, I guess we don't have very high standards here in Alabama if everything's all proven. Everything's hunky-dory. Let's just spend a little bit more money and everything will work out great, especially in that whole education and so many things we do here in the great state of Alabama. But where I want to begin today is a letter sent by Linda McMahon. Yes, that Linda McMahon. You know, the one married to Vince McMahon, the one who is now Secretary of Education. Well, Linda McMahon put out a very strongly worded letter to Harvard. Last week, you heard President Trump say it won't be the Harvard Crimson that makes history. They'll provide the leaders of the future. It will be the Crimson Tide. And as much as that hurts my Auburn graduate heart, I see what he's saying. I see what he's saying, and Linda McMahon is here. This letter directed to the office of the president there at Harvard, Dr. Alan Garber. Linda McMahon is saying the president ain't playing. It begins, Dear Dr. Garber, the federal government has a sacred responsibility to be a wise and important steward of American taxpayer dollars. Harvard University, despite amassing a largely tax-free $53.2 billion endowment, larger than the GDP of 100 countries, receives billions of dollars of taxpayer largesse each year. Receiving such taxpayer funds is a privilege, not a right. Yet instead of using these funds to advance the education of its students, Harvard is engaging in a systemic pattern of violating federal law. Where do many of these students come from? Who are they? How do they get into Harvard or even into our country? And why is there so much hate? Hate is capitalized. This is Linda McMahon is taking, well, a note out of Donald Trump's playbook. These are questions that must be answered, Secretary McMahon writes, among many more. But the biggest question of all is, why will Harvard not give straightforward answers to the American public? Harvard University has made a mockery of this country's higher education system. It has invited foreign students who engage in violent behavior and show contempt for the United States of America to its campuses. In every way, Harvard has failed to abide by its legal obligations, its ethical and fiduciary duties, its transparency responsibilities, and any semblance of academic rigor. It had scrapped standardized testing requirements and a normalized grading system. This year, writes Linda McMahon, Harvard was forced to adopt an embarrassing remedial math program for undergraduates. Really? Really? Why is it, we ask, and again, this is Secretary of Education Linda McMahon writing this, why is it, we ask, that Harvard has to teach simple and basic mathematics when it is supposedly so hard to get into this quote-unquote acclaimed university? Who is getting in under such a low standard when others with fabulous grades and a great understanding of the highest levels of mathematics are being rejected? Harvard has even been embroiled in humiliating plagiarism scandals exposed clearly and plainly in the media with respect to your then university president, who was an embarrassment to our nation. Much of Harvard's hateful discrimination was revealed last year by the great works of Congresswoman Elise Stefanik and her committee. And if it were trying to embarrass itself even further, Harvard hired failed mayors Bill de Blasio, the one who dropped the groundhog and killed it, and Lori Lightfoot, otherwise known as Beetlejuice. Perhaps the worst mayors ever to preside over major cities in our country's history, to supposedly teach quote-unquote leadership at their school of public health. This is like hiring the captain of the Titanic to teach navigation to future captains of the sea. But Linda McMahon's not done. The letter continues. This is incomprehensible failure. This incomprehensible failure becomes more understandable after reviewing Harvard's management. The Harvard Corporation, which is supposed to competently and professionally manage Harvard's vast academic, financial, and physical resources, is run by strongly left-leaning Obama political appointee Penny Pritzker, a Democrat operative who is catastrophic and running the institution in a totally chaotic way. Harvard alumnus and highly successful hedge fund manager Bill Ackman noted that under her leadership, Harvard has become, quote, a political advocacy organization for one party. Ackman has called for the resignation of Pritzker, concluding that the, quote, mismanagement here is Penny Pritzker, and noting that any serious corporation would have removed her after a litany of recent failings and the fact that, incredibly, Harvard is not in a good financial position. According to Ackman, one of the world's foremost finance experts, Harvard's so-called $53 billion endowment is, quote, massively overstated as far as what it's really worth, end quote. And Harvard has irresponsibly taken out $8 billion in debt. If this is true, it is concerning evidence of Harvard's disastrous mismanagement, indicating an urgent need for massive reform, not continued taxpayer investment. If Harvard prefers not to change, then Harvard should have no problem using its overflowing endowment to fund its bloated bureaucracy. At its best, a university should fulfill the highest ideals of our nation and enlighten the thousands of hopeful students who walk through its magnificent gates. But Harvard has betrayed this ideal. Perhaps most alarmingly, Harvard has failed to abide by the United States Supreme Court's ruling demanding that it end its racial preferencing and continues to engage in ugly racism in its undergraduate and graduate schools, and even within the Harvard Law Review itself. Our universities should be bastions of merit that reward and celebrate excellence and achievement, writes Secretary of Education Linda McMahon. They should not be incubators of discrimination that encourage resentment and instill grievance and racism into our wonderful young Americans. Great David Bowie song. The above concerns are only a fraction of the long list of Harvard's consistent violations of its own legal duties. Given these and other concerning allegations, this letter is to inform you that Harvard should no longer seek grants from the federal government, since none will be provided. Well, damn. Harvard will cease to be a publicly funded institution and can instead operate as a privately funded institution, drawing on its colossal endowment and raising money from its large base of wealthy alumni. you have an approximately $53 billion head start, much of which was made possible by the fact that you are living within the walls of and benefiting from the prosperity secured by the United States of America and its free market system you teach your students to despise. The administration had previously been willing to maintain federal funding to Harvard, so long as Harvard committed to complying with long-settled federal law, including to protect and promote student welfare and the landmark decision of our Supreme Court against racial preferencing. The proposed common sense reforms, which the administration remains committed to, include a return to merit-based admissions and hiring, an end to unlawful programs that promote crude identity stereotypes, disciplinary reform, and consistent accountability, including for student groups, cooperation with law enforcement, and reporting compliance with the Department of Education, Department of Homeland Security, and other federal agencies. The administration's priorities have not changed, and today's letter marks the end of new grants for the university. These requests will advance the best interest of Harvard University, so it can reclaim its status as a respected educational institution for the future leaders of America. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Sincerely, Linda E. McMahon, Secretary of Education. Bravo, Linda McMahon. Bravo. More of this energy. More of this. In fact, I'm turning into the meme of Kylo Ren. More. I want more. I saw a stat that Doge was able to reduce auditors at the IRS by 31% just from a little bit of the doging. I want more. Please. Give the Ivy League what's good. Good. Keep going, Mr. President. Continue to call out the fake news, the corporate media, or the prestige press, if you might want to call them that. Continue to call out this oligarchy that works off the fumes of victories and talent and competence of decades ago. You can only take a prestigious brand, whether it's Harvard or the New York Times or CBS, or heck, many aspects of the government, including the federal judiciary. You can only take this so far before people start to realize the shine has gone away. You've used the brand and abused the brand, more accurately, for too long. That said, I want more. More, please. I want more doging. I've got a great clip here from Peter St. Ange I'll play in just a moment that Doge really has unveiled a lot. But they've been leashed. They leashed Doge with one of those collars that has the little teeth in it. So when, you bring them to heel, they go, whoop, or something to that effect. Why did you leash Doge? Oh, because they're finding too much? They're cutting too much? Especially you folks in the Pentagon. Why did you leash Doge? Because some people in the House want to cut a little bit of the Pentagon. The Senate doesn't seem to want to touch a penny, essentially claiming there's like 1% waste in the Pentagon. You bought and paid for dogs. You're leashing Doge, and you're just a bunch of dirty dogs yourselves. I want more. Trump ran on more. He didn't run as a tramp. He ran on big, bold change. I want more peace deals. I want more cuts to the government. And yes, I want more actions taken against institutions that have suckled off the federal teat in a disgusting way for so long while claiming themselves to be free and independent institutions, while pushing the latest fashionable progressive gobbledygook onto the vast majority of the population that maybe even didn't vote for Trump, who looks at this stuff and goes, what the heck is that? I want more. Don't slow down, Mr. President. Don't slow down at all. I want more trade deals. I want more peace deals. I want more cuts. We deserve more because time is of the essence. And we certainly want more people deported. That seems to be the biggest slowdown at this moment. As much as I want more, as much as I'm never satisfied, I think I inherited this quality from my mother. May she rest in peace, but I'm always disappointed. Fine. Take what I say with a grain of salt if you don't already. I suppose we'll always have a bit of a pessimistic bent. There have been victories. A lot has been uncovered. A lot has been done in the first 100 or so days. But we need more. And we need it with speed and haste. Even those are both pretty much the same thing. Get sudden. Continue pushing forward. You see, when Linda McMahon sends a letter like this to Harvard, you're getting no new grants. Stop it. It just, I'm addicted to it. Like, don't stop there. Keep pushing, Linda. Keep pushing. But when you look at, in a more reasonable manner, the areas where the Trump administration has been slowed down the most, it is clearly the deportation work that must be done. I like this self-deportation idea. I saw Senator Tuberville backing that just yesterday. Tuberville loves the idea of, a few $1,000 to send them out, give them another $1,000 stipend once they prove they're out of the country. It's a heck of a lot cheaper than the $17,000 estimated to arrest somebody, confine them, and send them out ourselves. It's a lot better than that. But there is a certain way the courts are going about stopping this. But I expected this of the courts. I expected the lawfare. Anybody with a brain expected the lawfare and expected the corporate media to try to humanize some of the worst monsters on earth. That was all expected. The stuff that's really annoying me, where are the documents? You put out a lot on JFK, but where's all the Epstein stuff? Never going to put that out? What was that farce? That charade you put on where you had some influencers come out with binders full of stuff everybody already knew? Where's the MLK assassination? We want to know. We want to know every dirty detail. And yes, where is the karma for people like Dr. Fauci? That began somewhat yesterday. Of course, Fauci is protected by a pardon going all the way back to 2014, but of course he's an innocent man. He's not. Yesterday, President Trump signed an executive order to take out gain of function. Not only it was already illegal in this country, it was one of the good things Barack Obama did, saying this is crazy. You're going to create some super virus. It's going to get out. This is insane. You can't do this. And Dr. Fauci figured out a way to change the bureaucratic legalese so we can do it. Guys, we can't do it here, but we can do it in China, especially if we define gain of function in a very weaselly way. Can I use the word weaselly? Then I can yell at senators like Senator Paul. You have no idea what you're talking about, when everybody's aware of the games we're playing. Trump banning gain of function not only here in the United States of America, but having anything to do with it, whether in China, Ukraine, or Timbuktu. So that's a start. And honestly, am I the only one, at the end of the day, when it comes to this whole narrative of Trump's vengeance against his political opponents? It is one thing. It's one thing to raid the house of the former president, to go through his wife's panty drawer. And those are some nice panties. Have you seen Melania? But those FBI perverts did just that. And they made a show of it, too. They didn't do it just all of a sudden. They did it all of a sudden with cameras waiting. It's one thing to raid the man's home. It's another thing then to indict him on all sorts of cooked up crap. And remember, this is a man who's a former president who was the leading candidate. And the more you went after him, he became more of a leading candidate. So not only do you have good, say, traditions of not going after people at that level, the more you did it, the more the feedback loop from the public was stop that. Don't do that. Now, folks who aren't running for president, aren't running for any office for that matter, are crying foul and crying victim because the shoe's on the other foot. Particular comes to mind is Mark Elias, the guy helping to run the Hillary campaign in 2016, who cooked up, at least in large part, the whole Russiagate crap. So Clinton and team could cover their ass after documents go out the back door. Oh, we'll just blame it on Trump because we had a huge security breach. We'll just blame it on Trump. And we'll use an MI6 agent whose main subsource is a Russian. But we'll claim Trump's the one working with all the Russians. Yeah, Mark Elias has his fingerprints all over that. That famous Time magazine boast of an article of how they went after and made sure Trump couldn't ever win re-election. Mark Elias is a political operative. A lot of these people are political operatives. They're not running for office. They're the ones that do the dirty work. I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. If you're the one who's doing the dirty work, who's coming up with the legal schemes, who's coming up with the smear jobs, the hit jobs, the Oppo research, I'm not surprised when it comes back on you. And it's not the same thing as a guy who's a former president, who's the leading candidate for president, being taken to task. It's not the same thing at all. People will have their day in court. But in particular, this one class of people that doesn't actually put their name out there in public, they don't actually run for the office. They work in the shadows as middle management of puppet masters of our politicians. And as soon as you shine a light on them, they cry foul. And they cry fascism. And they cry authoritarianism. When are the American people going to get through their skulls that you can have tyranny in any system? Yeah, you can have tyranny like you do in China or in Russia. You can have tyranny like Napoleon or even worse like Hitler. But you can also have an oligarchy, a government of a few connected interests that is just as tyrannical and often achieves the same ends as a lot of the dictatorial tyrants, the strong men in this world. And don't get me started on how tyrannical the mob can be when they get unruly. You can have tyranny in any system. You can have awful, bad players in any system. At the end of the day, Mark Elias being in political trouble bother me all that much one way or the other? Being in legal trouble bother me one way? No, it doesn't really affect my life that much. Nor does Tisha James in New York or anybody else that might be caught up in, well, the vengeance. What I care about is laying a new foundations for this economy. What I care about is resetting the table for global trade. What I care about is cutting the government and letting Doge run free. That's what I care about. What I care about is resetting the globe so we can actually have peace. Reduce the number of nuclear weapons hanging over everybody's heads. What I care about is actually having a country where everyday people can get by. And get by not as a dependent on more and more government largesse and more government control, whether it's of health care or of speech, of anything else, of education, but no, where the average man and woman can get by, can start families, can worship, study their faith freely, can speak their minds without fear or favor. That's the country I want. That's what I care about. In the meantime, all these political operatives feeling karma, well, that's just the extra side. It's the extra piece of cake after a big old meal. But what I really want is the meal. I want more. Keep pushing forward, please. And I know I'm not alone. Keep pushing. We'll see. Oh, and also, I really care about this whole Bitcoin thing. Y'all keep pushing on that. Alabama legislature. New Hampshire just passed a Bitcoin strategic reserve. What have we done here in Alabama? Waited? Fiddled with some financial rules? What have we done on the crypto front? In particular on the Bitcoin front? You know, the state is all about having reserves overflowing out of the wazoo they can spend on supplementals. It would be nice to be ahead of the curve here, but New Hampshire beat us. New Hampshire is right there. I think Florida's moving on stuff. Texas is moving on stuff. We'll see. But that, I mean, I know that's my pet project, and most people, I guess, don't care about that. I'm just saying Alabama could do very well for its people if the state government here actually looked into a burgeoning new technology that preserves wealth over the long run. It could help us a lot with a lot of the problems we have here in the state. Anyway, welcome into the program. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. That's 334-272-9228. This part of the program brought to you by Bo Goodson and the Goodson Group, longtime sponsor here of the program. And Bo has been working in the River Region real estate market for about half a century now, which is incredible. You think, man, what a career. Not just in length, but the things he's seen, the changes he's seen in the real estate market and here in the River Region area, pretty amazing. 50 years. And they're at the Goodson Group. They can help you whether you're looking to buy or sell your home. And they have management services available should you want to rent out your property as a rental investment, making it a performing asset. It's a great idea in this market, especially with all the turnover there at the Air Force Base. Really is just a great idea. A lot of people are renting these days. So if you have a property you want to turn into a rental investment, the Goodson Group, for a reasonable fee, can manage that for you. And then if you want to learn the tricks of the trade, the crown jewel there is the Bo Goodson Real Estate School. It's one of the most highly acclaimed and accredited real estate programs here in the great state of Alabama because of Bo's 50 years of experience and his approach. It's a very interactive conversation, a very interactive course. He doesn't let you just sit there like a bump on the log. And he, well, can teach you from that 50 years. He's been through it all. Like I said, he's seen a lot, the good, the bad, and the ugly. See, I'll check out the Goodson Group today. You can always go to thegoodsongroup.com. That's again, thegoodsongroup.com, or give them a call at 551-0225. That's 551-0225. Bo Goodson and the Goodson Group. Great sponsor here of the program.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Mr. Electric. We have that time of year where storms roll through, and a lot of times we're seeing a lot of power outages, in which we do install whole home generators.
You can keep your power on, absolutely. Generac generators. Peace of mind knowing you always got standby power.
About 30 seconds where you don't have power, and those generators kick back on like nothing ever happened. When storms roll in, sometimes the lights go out. But here at Mr. Electric, we'll never leave you in the dark.
Mr. Electric, the power to make things better.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
The Rich Thomas Weather Network, brought to you by Montgomery Paint and Body. From little fender benders to total body repair, MPB will fix it good as new, maybe better. For 4 decades, the Turner family has been getting you back on the road. Call 279-7325.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. It's hard to improve on today's forecast. Really nice, comfortable, low humidity. At least some partial sunshine. High today up to about 82. We're dry through the evening hours tonight, but the risk of scattered showers and thunderstorms begins in the overnight hours. Low temperature 64. Then periods of showers and storms for the next few days as a parade of storm systems moves through. Scattered showers and storms at times Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and maybe even Saturday and Sunday too. It's not going to rain all the time. Highs during the daytime mostly in the 70s, lows at night mostly in the 60s. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Budget Floors and More is your low price leader for everything you need for flooring and DIY flooring installation supplies. For the best prices on luxury vinyl plank, carpet, ceramic tile, flooring installation supplies, and more, shop Budget Floors and More, Hunter Lane across from Del Rey to Publix.
If it concerns your community, you'll hear about it on News Talk 93.1. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Oh, girl, baby girl.
Oh, really?
Don't even play.
Shut up, silly woman. That's how you conduct yourself in a democracy.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon, as we call this program online, Joey Clark Live. Might as well start calling it Joey Clark Live here locally as well. But you could always watch later, maybe catch the tail end of the segment or tail end of an interview. You can always go to Joey Clark Live on YouTube. Find it there. Or on X at the Joey Clark, and of course on the Book of Faces. You can watch always. We stream it on all those platforms. Now, earlier this morning, Donald John Trump, the president of these here United States, invited the new prime minister. Well, he was prime minister a while ago, but a new election made it truly official. Mark Carney, that globalist dog up there in Canada. Well, he visited the White House, and there's a lot of funny moments in this where Trump's digging at him and about the 51st state thing, and saying, but I want to be friends with him. This is a friendly conversation, unlike that one with you know who, referring to Zelensky. But in the middle of this is where, questions from the press are peppered around at the president. He is asked about the Houthis. And Trump has an announcement on the Houthis. And then later he teases another announcement before a big Middle East trip. But first, let's hear about the Houthis.
We had some very good news last night. The Houthis have announced that they are not, or they've been announced to us at least, that they don't want to fight anymore. They just don't want to fight. And we will honor that. And we will stop the bombings. And they have capitulated, but more importantly, we will take their word. They say they will not be blowing up ships anymore, and that's what the purpose of what we were doing. So that's just news. We just found out about that. So I think that's very, very positive. They were knocking out a lot of ships going, as you know, sailing beautifully down the various seas. It wasn't just a canal; it was a lot of other places. And I will accept their word, and we are going to stop the bombing of the Houthis, effective immediately.
Wow. Well, and this is what I've been saying, especially to my libertarian friends, where every time a bomb's dropped, they're like, no, they're doing it again. The ghost of John McCain is still there, running everything somehow. And I get it. I feel the same way in many ways, guys. But at least this, when the bombing started again against the Houthis, it wasn't like a regime change thing. It wasn't trying to sort of help Saudi Arabia change who's in charge of Yemen. It wasn't trying to get rid of Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula and then, whoops, the Houthis are in there now. No, it's enough with the regime change. We don't care anymore who runs that plot of earth. What we want, no matter who's running it, is stop shooting at our damn ships. Stop it, or we will hurt you and hurt you bigly. That seemed like an achievable, discrete goal. And for the time being, there you have it. The bombing of the Houthis will stop because the Houthis said they will stop. See how you can use the stick and not just become some like obsessed sadist of we must spend more and more money, like beating people over the head while also handing them like goodies and ways to rebuild, and then we blow it up and hit them with the stick again. You see, you can just use the stick to get people to stop on a discreet, clear goal. Beautiful. More, though. I want more peace. Now, of course, the press doesn't really believe this. I guess they're doing their job being a little skeptical of the president, saying, can you tell us more? Tell us more. Everybody wants more today. Reminding me of a song from Greece. Tell me more, tell me more. But here's Trump answering the follow-up.
Can you tell us a bit more about the deal that you've reached with the Houthis?
No, it's not a deal. They've said, please don't bomb us anymore, and we're not going to attack your ships.
And where did you hear about that?
It doesn't matter where I hear. It's a very good source, I could tell you. Very, very good source. Would you say, Marco? I would say pretty good, right, JD? A very good source.
A very good source. Well, fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, look at that room. JD Vance, Marco Rubio. Rubio, he really is wearing a lot of hats these days. I kind of like him as interim national security advisor. It means I think we're actually giving diplomacy with the big stick that Trump will use in the background. I think that is a great thing. Now, Trump likes to throw out these cryptic little messages at these sit-downs and these press gaggles. And here's one, because you would think the Houthi announcement's a big enough announcement. Like, we're going to stop bombing them because they promised to stop shooting at the ships. Fantastic. But Trump wants to tease more, in particular because he's got a big Middle East trip coming up. Let's listen in.
And we'll have maybe before we're going to, as you know, the Middle East and Saudi Arabia. We're going to UAE and Qatar. And that'll be, I guess, Monday night. Some of you are coming with us. I think before then, we're going to have a very, very big announcement to make, like as big as it gets. And I won't tell you on what, but it's going to, and it's very positive. I tell you if it was negative or positive. I can't keep that up. It is really, really positive. And that announcement will be made either Thursday or Friday or Monday before we leave. But it'll be one of the most important announcements that have been made in many years about a certain subject, very important subject. So
what is you got to wonder, what the heck is he talking about? Is it some breakthrough with Israel and Gaza? Because he's just had Netanyahu say we're conquering Gaza. It won't be a short operation. Is he talking about a breakthrough with Iran? I don't know. Don't tease us like this, Mr. President. Give us more. That's not cool, man. Don't be teasing us like that. We want the answers, and we want them now. Now, this is more the true theater of the moment there, because sitting next to Trump in the Oval, again, is Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney. And Carney says Canada will never become the 51st state. And Trump doesn't let that lie. In fact, Trump really can't help himself in all this. Let's listen in.
they get along very well. They like each other a lot.
Well, if I may, as you know from real estate, there are some places that are never for sale.
That's true.
We're sitting in one right now, Buckingham Palace that you visited as well.
That's true.
And having met with the owners of Canada over the course of the campaign last several months, it's not for sale, won't be for sale ever. But the opportunity is in the partnership and what we can build together. We have done that in the past. And part of that, as the president just said, is with respect to our own security. And my government is committed for a step change in our investment in Canadian security and our partnership. And I'll say this as well, that the president has revitalized international security, revitalized NATO, and us playing our full weight in NATO, and that will be part of it.
And they have.
Oh, God.
They have, I must say, Canada is stepping up the military participation because Mark knew, they were low and now they're stepping it up. And that's a very important thing. But never say never. Never say never.
He can't. When Carney was saying, some things are never for sale. Trump, yeah, that's true. You could see Trump at that moment saying, oh, well, should I say a thing? Should I interrupt him? Trump really can't help himself. Never say never. So that's just some of the scenes from the White House this morning. Also on Capitol Hill, you had a lot of cabinet secretaries in front of members of Congress, and it's going about how you would think. In many ways, it's just annoying, and you're not actually getting to the bottom of anything. It's just clip after clip after clip. And, sometimes we love the clips. Sometimes we love the sizzle. Nothing wrong with a little sizzle here or there. But if you're expecting like some true intrigue and substance along with that sizzle, you're probably kidding yourself. But before I go to Capitol Hill and what's happening with the cabinet secretaries there, you're talking about Kristi Noem from Homeland Security, Scott Bessent from the Treasury Department. Also, I believe Secretary Rollins of Agriculture there. This came out last night, and this is, I think, the number one reason you've seen all the nasty negative press on Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. We've been saying this for weeks, that if you go after the top brass, if you go after the top generals, if you say we are going to restructure our command structure, people there who have been working their way up the ladder for a long, long time are probably not going to be happy about it. And there's nobody better than the Pentagon when it comes to the propaganda wars. Nobody better. Well, maybe American intelligence, but, the two work hand in glove a lot of the time. But those really are the best propagandists on earth. American military, national security interests. So Intel, the DOD, yada, yada, yada. But Hegseth survived. Trump was asked over the weekend on Meet the Press and saying, no, I have no plans to get rid of him or get anybody else. And it was strange that it wasn't Mike Waltz who really had the biggest scandal out of the whole Signalgate thing. But everybody turned their guns on Hegseth, which again made me think, well, why do they not like this guy so much? Well, I think we found the reason. This was announced by Hegseth himself last night. Let's listen in together.
More DOD reforms. This one is General and Flag Officer Reductions. That's the official title. My title is Less Generals, More GIs.
Here, here.
It's a historic one, and it's in keeping with President Trump's commitment to achieving peace through strength. We're going to shift resources from bloated headquarters elements to our warfighters. Let's take a bit of a trip down memory lane. In history, when we were fighting across the globe during World War II, we had a force that was 12 million strong. For that 12 million man element, we had 17 4- and 5-star generals. Today, we have 2.1 million service members with 44 4-star and flag officers. So it used to be a ratio of 1 general to 6,000 troops. Today, it's 1 general to 1,400.
Seems a little top heavy.
More generals and admirals does not equal more success.
Sure.
Now, this is not a slash and burn exercise meant to punish high-ranking officers. Nothing could be further from the truth. This has been a deliberative process, working with the Joint Chiefs of Staff with one goal: maximizing strategic readiness and operational effectiveness by making prudent reductions in the general and flag officer ranks. So there's 2 phases here. Phase 1, we're looking at our current service structure.
Okay.
And in phase 2, it's a strategic review of the Unified Command Plan. Now, this is going to be, we think, the most comprehensive review since the Goldwater-Nichols Defense Reorganization Act of 1986. That was a generational change in combat command structures, planning, training, geographic areas of responsibility, mission, and operational responsibilities. So, as I said, it's going to happen in 2 phases. The result of phase 1 is a minimum of 20% reduction of 4-star and flag officers for active duty elements, and a minimum of 20% reduction of general and flag officers in the National Guard Bureau. Phase 2 will produce a minimum of an additional 10% reduction of overall general and flag officers throughout the DoD, in conjunction with a realignment of the Unified Command Plan. It's going to be done carefully, but it's going to be done expeditiously. We confront a complex and evolving threat environment. We cannot afford to wait. We got to be lean and mean. And in this case, it means general officer reductions.
Does everybody sign everything over there at the Trump administration with a Sharpie? Because I like it. I want more. I love that. And yet I want more. Oh, well. No, that's great. And I think people knew that was coming. People understand that Hegseth is not just loyal to Trump, he's loyal to the cause of restructuring things, cleaning house. I think in many ways, the DOD also somehow pulled off getting Doge on a leash. I mean, you got some cuts out of the Pentagon from Doge, in particular, these ridiculous consulting contracts, places like Booz Allen and yada, yada, yada. So there's some improvement, and I love that. But I do not believe like 1% of the Pentagon budget, now that it's going to go over $1 trillion with the proposed budget in the one big, beautiful bill. I just got a sense the Pentagon has a lot more waste in it than that. But that is fantastic, and that's exactly the reason Pete Hegseth has gotten all the negative press. 272-9228. Again, if you want to get in on the conversation, that's 334-272-9228. This part of the program, after, hit a quick break here in a second. But first, this part of the program brought to you by James Cole and Cole Plumbing. And they're at Cole Plumbing. If you're here in the river region, Cole Plumbing's got your back with any and all of your plumbing needs. Could be you got a big leak, big water leak inside or outside your home. Well, they can fix that without creating a big old mess fixing it. It means they're not going to have to tear out a bunch of drywall, dig up a huge hole in your yard, or trench trying to find the leak. And with precision and expertise, with proprietary pipelining technology, they can fix that problem for you with minimal discomfort to you and your home. But of course, they can help you with everyday problems like clogged drains, low water pressure. Maybe it's time to upgrade to a new garbage disposal, or maybe a tankless water heater system. Could be you want a taller toilet, new accessories in the kitchen or bathroom. They can do it all there at Cole Plumbing. So get in touch with them today. You can make an appointment online at coleplumbing.com, or just go ahead and save their number, 279-8919. That's 279-8919. And just remember, folks, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole. We'll be right back.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now. It's time to show Mom how much you appreciate her with a Jenny Lynn's floral creation for Mother's Day. Skip the grocery store flowers and make one quick call. 285-1000. Roses, lilies, beautiful bouquets, and gift baskets designed just for Mom. Call Jenny Lynn's Creations, 285-1000.
Have you been thinking about selling your home? Let me ask you. Would you want to trust your biggest investment with a part-time agent? You know, the kind who can't make your property a priority until after work at their real job? I'm Hannah Grantham, and you don't get that with us.
That's right. And I'm Eddie Bader. And if they're not focused 100% on your home, can they really even get you top dollar?
I couldn't agree more. We're top producing agents with a reputation for getting results. No side gigs here at Forest Meadows Homes and Land.
So call us today at 334-368-6358 and let us show you why who you have on your sign really matters.
Treat yourself to the home-style goodness of Epicure and Jack's Tavern. Enjoy their lunch special with meat and 3 delicious selections, a drink, and bread. Just $9.99 for seniors and $13.99 for regular size. At Epicure and Jack's, they're proud to serve meals made from scratch daily. They're not your typical fast food joint. They're your go-to for fresh, made-to-order goodness. Experience the taste of home at Epicure and Jack's Tavern.
News and talk without the static. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to the program, folks. I'm your host, Joey Clark, and been flying solo today, but full of energy. And let's go to the phones and talk to Jeff. Hey, Jeff, how you doing?
I'm always good, Joey. Thanks for being here for us today.
Yes, sir. What's on your mind?
I got to tell you, I hate to backtrack on you, but you were talking earlier about the disappointments in this administration. The only disappointment I have, and I wish it could get back to the congressman, especially Pam Bondi, is with all the corruption,
Appreciate it, Jeff. No, I think you make a good point, and you speak for a lot of folks when you say that. I'll say there's different levels of abuse. I think giving a lot of people pink slips or relocating them, they sort of went along to get along. They weren't in leadership positions. They didn't technically do anything illegal. There might be some ramifications in terms of where you're assigned or if you are shown the door. For folks that really did break the law, who abused their power and authority, well, that's something you do have to prove in court. We'll see. There's a lot of talk out there that Trump could appoint himself a special prosecutor and then have like a top deputy actually run the thing. That would make people lose their ever-loving minds. But when it comes to actually charging people with crimes, it takes time. You just can't do that willy-nilly, or else that will blow up in your face. So I think it's a spectrum of folks. Some folks just need to be shown the door. Some might just need to be relocated or have the power taken out of their hands. Some, yeah, they need to be investigated. And then after investigations, some might need to be charged. The sticking point is people like Fauci. In many ways, that pardon speaks for itself. We'll get to some of the executive orders signed yesterday. Alongside RFK Jr., Trump signed one banning gain of function. But the fact that so many of these folks during the COVID regime got away with what they did scot-free. I feel you, Jeff. I feel you. But if you're going to start actually charging people with crimes, you better have the proof. People will have their day in court. Got to hit this top of the hour break. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. Israel's military says it's launched airstrikes against Iranian-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen, fully disabling that country's international airport in the capital. It also said several power plants were struck in the area. The strikes were the second time in 2 days that Israel attacked the rebels in Yemen in retaliation for a missile strike on Israel's airport on Sunday. Friedrich Merz has succeeded in his bid to become the next German chancellor during a second vote in Parliament. That's hours after he suffered a defeat in the first round. Stocks are lower as AI mania on Wall Street loses more steam and more companies scrub their forecast for upcoming profits because of economic uncertainty. The Dow is dropping 313 points. This is SRN News.
You all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now.
800-583-0141.
Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-583-0141. That's 800-583-0141.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real.
Rich Thomas Weather is brought to you by MPM Feed and Seed. It's time to get those gardens ready. From seeds to plants to fertilizer, MPM has what you need. Shop MPM Feed and Seed in Prattville, 1313 Highway 31 North. Open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, Saturdays, 8 to 1.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. It's hard to improve on today's forecast. Really nice, comfortable, low humidity, at least some partial sunshine. High today up to about 82. We're dry through the evening hours tonight, but the risk of scattered showers and thunderstorms begins in the overnight hours. Low temperature 64. Then periods of showers and storms for the next few days as a parade of storm systems moves through. Scattered showers and storms at times Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and maybe even Saturday and Sunday too. It's not going to rain all the time. Highs during the daytime mostly in the 70s, lows at night mostly in the 60s. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Whether you're buying a home or auto or consolidating debt, CB&S Bank's personal loans get you where you need to go. Go to cbsbank.com to find a location near you or apply online today. All loans subject to credit approval, member FDIC and equal housing lender.
From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, these are today's top stories. Montgomery Mayor Stephen Reed spoke about the city's progress on public safety at a news conference Monday, reporting a significant decline in most major crime categories. According to the mayor, violent crime is down more than 30% compared to this time last year. Nonviolent crime is down 16%, and overall crime is down more than 18%. The victim of a deadly weekend shooting in Montgomery has been identified. Officers responded to a local hospital around 3 a.m. Saturday where 19-year-old Josiah Slocum was pronounced dead from a gunshot wound. Investigators later determined the shooting happened in the area of Davis Drive near Norman Bridge Road. If you don't have a passport and plan to fly using a United States airport, you will need a Star ID beginning tomorrow on May 7th. The driver's license offices that issue Star IDs in Montgomery are located on Coliseum Boulevard and Ripley Street. Long lines may occur at the offices throughout the remainder of the week. From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, I'm Sky Mosley.
Hi, this is Jeff Mallinson with Georgia Floors Direct, and I want to talk to you about Blue Water Broadcast and how they've helped my business spread the word. As every small business owner, I have to look at my advertising dollars carefully, and Blue Water Broadcast helps me get the most for every dollar I spend. I'm so glad to be a part of Blue Water Broadcasting and what they bring to Montgomery.
Radio reaches over 90% of everyone in the river region. Shouldn't your ads be out there where your customers are? Call us to find out more. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks helping local business.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
No one wants to wait on service for an overhead door. With 20 years in the industry, you now have access to the best with All Access Overhead Door. All Access Overhead Doors offers prompt professional service at affordable prices on all service and new garage doors for residential and commercial locations. All Access Overhead Door serves the river region and can take care of whatever you need when it comes to your overhead door. Remember, you have access to the best. All Access Overhead Door. Call and schedule an appointment today. 320-2440. And like them on Facebook. They sell the best and service the rest.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
They're all different shades of color. They're like sort of white, but one's like an orange white.
Joey
My favorite
Clark.
color, orange.
His favorite color, orange. You do gotta wonder, as the conclave goes in, I guess later this week, are they gonna pick Trump as Pope? I mean, probably not. Technically, if you're a Catholic in good standing, you don't even have to be a priest, a lowly, priest. You just gotta be a man, can't be a lady. Look at the Catholics keeping that going strong. You know, one of my favorite memes was the smokestack where it had orange smoke coming out. I'm like, is that about Bitcoin? Are we going to have a Bitcoin Pope or a Trump Pope. I don't know. I think we'll probably end up with some disappointment given all the schisms within just the Roman Catholic Church itself. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. That's 334-272-9228. Let's go to Papa B. How you doing today?
I'm headed to Alex City.
Oh,
What a great
nice.
place. Yes, around the lake. So, anyway, I could not help but laugh about Trump putting himself as the Pope. That was just deliciously irreverent.
Oh, it was great.
I thought that was a hoot. I know that there were some people that were just beside themselves.
Oh, it's one of those things where I first saw it and I'm like, that's funny. And I put it on Facebook. I'm like, it's only going to get funnier when people get upset.
I know it, right?
Like it's a stupid AI creation. Y'all calm down.
Oh, me. Well, there are a lot of good things happening. And I would urge my friends out there to just try to be a little more patient. I know we've been patient for a long time, far much longer than we ever should have been. But we've got to just hang tight a little bit longer. This is I would call it the investigation and exposure phase.
Yes.
Maybe, for lack of a better term, because you got to remember, most American citizens, they either don't care or they've never been informed about just how bad it is with some of these folks that have gotten away with all kind of stuff. And so the American public has got to be won over, as well as forming some sort of a prosecution against them in most cases. And any charge that Pam Bondi or Cash Patel, whoever it might bring, it has got to be ironclad, and it has got to be adjudicated in some other court of the New York City or Washington D.C.
But then think of the ones that have come quick, like Letitia James or Tish or whatever, out of the Attorney General out of New York. Did she really think it was smart to go after Trump, saying he overvalued his properties, even though the banks that Trump did business with don't rely on Trump's own valuation to make their assessment of the loan? They said they liked the loans, they would have do more business with Trump, and they made a lot of money off these deals. Did she really think, undervaluing Mar-a-Lago at $18 million was a smart idea to go after Trump about that when she had her own mortgage issues hiding behind the curtain? It is taking time on all these, but it didn't take long to figure out her fat ass was up to something.
Those that complain the loudest, right?
Yeah. It's crazy.
But Letitia James, all of these other prosecutors, Bragg, Fat Fanny, all of them.
See, I don't even want Fanny to see criminals. I think she's already in a fresh hell, with that Nathan Wade guy and how that fell apart.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, you got to remember, these people are Soros puppets, and I say that literally. When I say Soros puppets, that is exactly what they are. They are bought and paid for, and they are doing exactly what their boss man tells them to do, whether it makes sense or not. I don't think they have enough sense to occupy the positions that they hold, to be honest with you.
I agree. But, have you seen the heir apparent, Alex Soros, that photo that went viral with him and Uma?
Yeah.
And where they're just coldly holding hands. And it's like somebody captioned it with, "Look, I'm a totally straight man with my wife who loves physical contact." As he sits there lounging way too relaxed in a turtleneck.
Yeah.
Well, and honestly, I don't blame Uma. After you have to deal with Wiener, Anthony Weiner.
I know it.
Goodness gracious, that woman. I guess she chose her own fresh hell.
Oh, yeah. Well, but anyway, it's got to be ironclad. The charges have got to be ironclad. They've got to be, and plus, hey, we've learned a lot during this whole time too. The American public's being exposed to just how really corrupt and ideologically driven our judicial system is.
Yep.
And, how unfair it is and how reflexive. I mean, even the judges, even up to the Supreme Court, they favor the judge's, opinion, apparently, though it is just as wrong-headed as it can be. They just, they give every type of favor they possibly can to really bad judges. And instead of going ahead and hammering down and say, no, you're out now. And they could do that. The Supreme Court could take a gavel to all of these judges and say, no, your days of judging are over with. Let's get a fresh batch in here. I presume they could. If nothing else, they could take them off of the bench for a while and say, here, go cool your heels, down in Warm Springs, Arkansas. Or something.
I mean, we'll see, but it's so much of the corruption is crazy within the judiciary and within the Congress itself. The folks that have been trying to slow down Doge the most, judiciary and Congress, with the prestige media doing their level best to try to help as well. But the lawfare, stopping deportations, stopping corrupt cuts to the government, stopping like very generous buyouts and severance offers to federal employees to quit. Kind of nuts. Watch them try to stop this whole self-deportation thing, which I think is a brilliant idea. Like somebody goes voluntarily, we'll pay you money to go voluntarily, and you can get back in line. You're in good standing. You want to come on a tourism visa, a work visa, come on back in. But man,
right? Oh yeah, no good, nothing, no kind of good sense will do for some folks.
Right.
So just one other thing. Have you noticed the number of CEOs that are resigning? It's like a tsunami. Look at it. When you get a chance, look into it. I'm telling you, man, there's some things that are shaking up that, are not really being talked about too much.
Well, some of this is the old regime is dead. DEI, shockingly, is dead. And the whole ESG thing, dead. It was a corporate fad that needed that government backing, and that is now done. That is a doornail. And then you add to it, say you're a CEO, you've done well, and you've got to figure out this whole like tariff, new trade thing. Yeah, I'll just give it to some wartime consigliere. I was a peacetime guy. I'm done.
Yeah. Well, anyway, good times. We're going to see some good things happen. So y'all hang in there. It's coming.
But I want more. Appreciate it, Papa B.
No, me too. Bye.
272-9228. That's 334-272-9228. Yeah, usually I'm one saying it doesn't really change my life whether or not people are thrown in prison or prosecuted or whatnot. The one guy, and he is protected by a big old pardon from Autopin Joe. Now, the Autopin thing was, I think, stupid. How many all sorts of presidents have used the Autopin? Like, you got all this, like, pro forma stuff. Just get it over with. But the pardon of Fauci, I didn't find it shocking that Joe Biden pardoned his son, Hunter. I mean, that's the one power a president has. And you're going to protect family, especially your son that you made essentially do all your dirty work and funnel money throughout the family, funnel money to, like, yeah, no wonder. And then he's embarrassed. I mean, he embarrassed himself, but all that nasty, depraved stuff he was up to, arguing with Russian hookers, overpaying them too much while he's learning to cook his own crack. And then he's sleeping with his brother's widow and like going to strip clubs and all sorts. It's messed up. So all that's out there. I'm not surprised Joe pardoned Hunter. I really am not. But when Joe pardoned Dr. Fauci in the way he did, a 10-year blanket pardon, I think they would have gone back to the 90s if they could have. That made me go, that's the presidential power we have of a pardon. Thought it was a bit much. Here is RFK Jr. This is on Laura Ingram's program last night, laying out what Fauci did. Trump just yesterday signed the executive order ending gain of function. Not just here, that was banned a long time ago by Obama. Good thing Obama did. Very good thing. But it's now stopping the scheme Fauci came up with to export this to China. Let's listen in to Bobby Kennedy.
As you pointed out, gain of function studies the kind of science that is designed to make microbes and pathogens more virulent, more transmissible, and more deadly.
Yep.
It was in this country, they started doing it in 1947, the military and the intelligence agencies, in order to develop bioweapons. In 1969, President Nixon banned it all and shut down Fort Detrick, shut down all the labs. That ban, and then signed the Bioweapons Convention. That ban lasted till 2001. And after the anthrax attacks, Anthony Fauci essentially restarted the arms race and the bioweapons arms race, and did it under the pretension of developing vaccines, because of the same science that you develop bioweapons and vaccines. In 2014, 3 of his bugs had escaped, and 300 scientists wrote letters to President Obama asking him to shut down Anthony Fauci. President Obama declared a moratorium, but instead of shutting down his experiments, he moved them offshore, mainly to the Wuhan lab. And now, the principal institutions of our government, the CIA, the FBI, the State Department, Department of Energy, all say that it is most likely that those experiments resulted in the COVID-19 pandemic beginning in 2019. So President Trump today moved to shut down this kind of research in this country and to stop funding it abroad.
It's a good start. It's not enough. There's some folks that just wanted to get out of the whole COVID thing and go about living. Maybe count me as one of them. I'm tired of talking about it. I just wanted my freedom back. Not just my freedom, that sense of impending death they inspired in everybody, and the mockery of the public health protocols with the mask and the little stickers on the floor showing you this is how far 6 feet apart is when you're trying to just get a Red Bull at a Circle K. Not to mention, stay at home, the 15 days to stop the spread, the vaccine mandates that came after you sped through this novel technology that worked in theory. But, when you start putting it into the bodies of millions of people, maybe it's going to have adverse reactions and not work exactly the way you designed it. All of that, a lot of it at least, can be laid at Dr. Fauci's feet. Because Fauci knew at the beginning of this thing, as email showed, that he had to protect his own backside. He knew very early on this gain of function subject and what was going on at the Wuhan Institute of Virology would fall right back in his lap. But it wasn't Fauci alone. It took a lot of witting, oh yes, witting, and unwitting actors in the press, in the government, all over the place to go along with this guy. So if you try to put yourself back in that headspace, when my friend was sick, had just had a stroke, I couldn't visit him in the hospital. When my grandfather was sick, I couldn't visit him. My dad's dad. We weren't able to get together and remember and celebrate Granddaddy's life until a year later. Those are just 2 small stories, and I know people have much worse from that era. And the people that put this plague, this disease, engineered by wicked minds, engineered by hubris, where's the accountability? Hell, where's the accountability on the government of China as well, and the CCP? And yet he gets a pardon. And that's how politics at the highest level just tends to work. It's not whether you made an impact on the world, good or bad. It's just that you made an impact. And we protect those at the highest levels. Even when they're caught with enough blood on their hands that no amount of water could wash it away. The Fauci one really does bother me. I'll go about living my life. Does it change my life that much to see Anthony Fauci locked up or held accountable in some way? Maybe that's where congressional theater could come into play. Put Fauci's ass right in front of Rand Paul again. Will it be enough for most folks? No. But let him squirm there on national television. Clips of it on social media galore. Let him squirm with his feet held to the fire. We'll see if anything actually comes of it. But it's a good start to actually ban this crap. Again. It's one thing Nixon got right. And then, of course, George W. Bush and that genius team, group of galaxy brain, won't say it. Great job letting that lapse. That really worked out well, right? Hell, a lot of the public health protocols, their origins were found during the George W. Bush years. It's absolutely crazy. Now, of course, there are a lot of folks that think RFK Jr., they're still in that sort of slipstream that sold you the COVID lies and the lockdowns and the yada, yada, yada. The safe and effective. They sold you all that, and there are people who still believe that because I guess it's a free country. You can believe whatever you want to believe. Those folks think RFK Jr., he's just taking a hatchet to this prestigious institution that did such wonderful things. It's had such wonderful outcomes, not just during the COVID era, but for decades and decades. Billions and billions of dollars spent. Are Americans healthier? Are children healthier? Billions and billions of dollars spent. What are the outcomes? And at a certain point, you have to say, well, maybe we need to look at this and tear it out from the roots to actually do a full accounting. Secretary Kennedy, last night again on Laura Ingraham, laid out what he's actually up to there at HHS. Let's listen in to Bobby Kennedy together.
Cutting his waste, fraud, and abuse. We're streamlining an agency that grew by 38% in the 4 years that President Biden was in the White House, and we're dialing it back to the pre-Biden administration. And the agency was not doing what it was supposed to be doing, which is preventing disease, chronic disease, particularly in Americans. Americans during that period got sicker and sicker and sicker. Oh, and the agency is bloated. When I got there, there were 100 communications departments. There were 40 procurement departments, 40 IT departments, 40 HR departments. And we streamlined the agency. We got rid of the redundancy, and that's how we save that money. We're not getting rid of any critical research, and we're not getting rid of any of the programs that are critical to Americans' health care.
Well, and actually the idea is to lower administrative costs. And when you cap administrative costs, I believe they capped it at 15% for a lot of these research grants, meaning 85% of a grant needs to go to actual research, not how you administer and publish and put out that research, which folks say, well, oh my God, if you put that cap, we're going to have to change the way we do. That's the whole point. You have to change the way you do things, be more efficient, so more money can go to actual open research. It maybe does solve things like awful childhood cancers, the cancers that killed my mother and killed so many others, from John McCain to Beau Biden. The idea that, oh, they're cutting cancer research. It's like, it's everything's so fake. And honestly, whether you're on my side or adjacent to me or on the other side or adjacent to or whatever, you're doing your own thing. We have to say in this day and age, at least 25% of the stuff we see is probably bullcrap. And that's being generous. But again, at least it's a start. But I want more. More. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. This part of the program brought to you by Josh and Leslie Ryder. They're at Dillon Rings. And at Dillon Rings, they are a full-service jewelry shop ready to help you out with any and all of your jewelry needs. Of course, they have an amazing inventory Leslie puts together there, from high-end pieces, it's hard to find pieces, to everyday jewelry that doesn't break the bank, but it's still beautiful. Maybe you're looking for a first piece of jewelry for, say, your little niece or your daughter or something. It's always fun to do. And, of course, they do repairs. Maybe it's not like something's fully broken, but there's a certain gemstone that's a little loose. It's not seated correctly anymore. Could be a spa treatment where you're wearing a piece of jewelry every day. It's part of your uniform. You love wearing that piece of jewelry, but it looks like it after 5-10 years. It looks like you wear it every day. What if that favorite piece of jewelry of yours could shine and shimmer like it's brand new again? They can do that for you there at Dillon Rings. And of course, they can do custom design work done by Josh Ryder, the man himself. He's a little bit of a mad scientist, but he's also a true artist. If you can dream it up, that man can make it a reality. In fact, go to their Facebook page, Dillon Rings on Facebook, and you can see a custom wedding set that was commissioned, and it's diamonds, diamonds, diamonds galore. So especially if it's like your wedding day coming up, or you want to pop the big question at least, why not go with something that's truly unique to express your unique love or something like that? Y'all check out Dillon Rings today. You can always stop by 119 Brown Springs Road here in Montgomery. That's just off of Atlanta Highway, sort of the back end entrance to the AUM complex, or where the old fun zone used to be, where I used to work. And be sure to tell them that Joey, that fellow on the radio, sent you. In 272-9228. Again, also flying solo today. So if you call up, just be patient. I'll get to you. That's 334-272-9228. I'm wondering, because earlier Trump teased this big announcement. I can't tell you what it is, but I can tell you it's positive. It's on a big thing people have been trying to work on for years. I'm like, well, what the heck are you... Now, maybe it has something to do with Israel. Maybe it has something to do with Iran. I don't know. He's about to do this big trip over there to the Middle East, I believe to the UAE, and I'm forgetting the others. But we'll see. When he teases me like that, I'm like, hey, man, give us the goods. I get tired of these announcements of the announcements of the announcements. Just tell us already. Come on. How about this? Let's hit a quick break. We'll be right back.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings 6 till 9 and afternoons 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Hi, this is Bo Goodson from the Goodson Group with your Real Estate Minute. You're thinking of selling your home. Here are several ways to improve the look of your home and possibly the value. Number one, improve the curb appeal with trim bushes and cut the grass. Repaint the exterior where needed, and if needed, paint your front door. Number two, declutter the inside of the home by removing items that are not needed off countertops, dressers, and the den. 3, paint walls and trim where needed with a fresh coat of paint in a light color that will show off your home. 4, clean your oven and microwave inside and out, make it shine. Number 5, professionally clean carpets or shine the wood floors with a polish or Bona. 6, clean out all closets or unwanted clothes, shoes, belts, hats, and donate them to a local charity. Finish any leftover repairs now, doorknobs, light bulbs, and closet doors. For a complete list and an in-person evaluation and consultation, call Bo Goodson from the Goodson Group, 221-2883 or 551-0225.
This is your roving reporter, and today I am talking with an elk. Hey man. Mr. Elk, I was just wondering, what do elk do to take care of their money? Well, like most smart folks, we call David Erdis. You mean Alabama's most favorite asset preservationist? That's him, man. We call him up at 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. I see. Yes, he is our preferred money man. The money man with the money plan. You've been paying attention. Well, could you give us those numbers one more time? 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. And I just want to try to give you a heads up, man. Oh, what's that? I'm not an elk. Not an elk, huh? Well, then, pray tell, What are you? Knights of Columbus. I am not even going to make a comment. Well, the baby liked it.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
For reliable electrical services in Central Alabama, trust the experts at Crosby Electric. Crosby's licensed and insured electricians are ready to tackle any project for your home, from troubleshooting, repairs, to installing new lighting and preventive maintenance. And Crosby understands the need for quality service for small business. Crosby is big enough for the largest job, yet small enough to bring real value. Visit crosbyelectric.com to schedule your service. Crosby, powering Central Alabama with excellence.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Woodward, account executive with Blue Water Broadcasting. Why should you advertise with us? Radio is an active medium. It can create immediacy, driving shoppers to a specific store, brand, or to take a specific action. Radio ads engage with the audience in a personal and unique way. Contact me, Cheryl Woodward, by going to bluewaterbroadcasting.com to find out more. Blue Water Broadcasting, local folks helping local business.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of Wiley Sanders Truck Lines, where over-the-road dump truck drivers are needed right now. Home twice a week and every weekend, must leave early on Sunday with Blue Cross Blue Shield. Call them now at 855-777-9785.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. It's hard to improve on today's forecast. Really nice, comfortable, low humidity, at least some partial sunshine. High today up to about 82. We're dry through the evening hours tonight, but the risk of scattered showers and thunderstorms begins in the overnight hours. Low temperature 64. Then periods of showers and storms for the next few days as a parade of storm systems moves through. Scattered showers and storms at times Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and maybe even Saturday and Sunday too. It's not going to rain all the time. Highs during the daytime, mostly in the 70s, lows at night, mostly in the 60s. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
The River Region's first and only news talk station on FM. Live, local talk. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Again, 334-272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. And again, if you want to watch the show, maybe catch a segment if you missed it while traveling in the car in Radio Land, just go to Joey Clark Live on YouTube or at the Joey Clark on the X platform or just Joey Clark on Facebook. Quick programming note. Tomorrow at, I believe, 2 o'clock, we're going to have United States Senator Katie Britt. I'm going to ask her about this Doge stuff. Why is Doge been put on a leash? And maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm wondering, in the one big, beautiful bill, is that going to be passed? And then is possibly the rescission package, the idea that Rand Paul came up with of all people, Lindsey Graham. And, Lindsey seems to have turned over a new leaf. I mean, he still loves women. Don't get me wrong. And I still kind of love war. I'd love to see them bomb Iran. Just get me all hot and bothered. But he's been playing ball a little more, been laying back a little more. So I'm looking forward to asking Senator Britt, are we actually going to get some more rescission cuts? Also going to ask about what we were talking about yesterday, all these fat kids on SNAP and just fatty bum baddies in general on the food stamp program. Seems just crazy. And it's not just people on food stamps. Don't get me wrong. I was the one ridiculously tongue in my cheek pushing the fat tax yesterday. We got to do something. Maybe just bring back good old fashioned fat shaming. Romex Engler on the stream here, he was fat shaming me for months and months, if not over a year. And I took it to heart. Lost a lot of weight. I still need to lose more, but fat shaming could work. And so you got all these kids and all these folks, getting money from the government coffers, because apparently if we don't give them that money, they'll go hungry. How is it that we have our poorest people in this country who need assistance are some of the fattest? Doesn't make any sense. Also ask about kids on social media and whatever else comes to mind. Again, United States Senator Katie Britt tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Speaking of the Doge thing, Peter St. Onge has a great clip out today. Been a little while since I've played anything from that brilliant, brilliant man. If you don't know Peter St. Onge, he's an economist. I believe he's working at Heritage at this point, which is great seeing. But in a second, we will lay out, his point of view on what's happened with Doge. That Elon stepping back. Now, and Elon's done this with his companies, as I've described before. Anybody who knows the guy close up, just read the Walter Isaacson biography on the man. He likes to do a deep dive into any new business he acquires. He did it with Tesla. He did it with SpaceX. He, of course, remember the whole kitchen sink going into Twitter when he buys that. And he just focuses all his time and energy until he gets sort of a mental model in his mind that allows him to sort of delegate it out to other talented people and have these multiple businesses run as he wishes. And it looks like he's doing that with Doge. So here is Peter. Again, this is Peter St. Onge. And he's going to lay out, what Doge is up to and who's holding it back.
Musk is stepping back from Doge, even as he promises Doge will become a permanent fixture in Washington, a permanent drain on our ruling swamp. Last week, Elon gave what media billed as a wrap-up of Doge's work at a cabinet meeting, sporting 2 hats, saying he will spend more time on Tesla and, of course, going to Mars. Afterwards, he sat down with Axios for what the Washington Post framed as a, quote, exit interview. It was anything but. In fact, Elon said Doge would be permanent instead of wrapping up on July 4th as originally intended. He called Doge, quote, a way of life like Buddhism, adding, is Buddha needed for Buddhism? Moreover, this is what Elon does. In his companies, Elon is very hands-on setting it up. Then he leaves it to capable people and only parachutes in if there is a major problem to troubleshoot. This is what he does with Tesla, with SpaceX, with X, if you recall the kitchen sink. This is why Elon can run a half dozen major companies worth several hundreds of billions and still find time to go to MMA fights and repopulate the earth. Having said it, Elon admitted Doge has not been, quote, as effective as I like. Namely, by his count, Doge has found $160 billion in spending when he had hoped for $1 trillion plus. A big part of that, of course, has been resistance from inside government, above all by Congress. Now, I mentioned in recent videos how the Republican Congress is trying to re-spend between 85 cents on the dollar, the House, and 99 cents in the Senate of Doge savings, including on the military, which is grotesquely overfunded, yet has found less than 1% of its budget in Doge savings. If you believe that just 1% of the military budget is waste, I got a bridge to sell you.
Yeah, I don't.
One congressman recently shared that a proposal to reduce U.S. aid funding, not eliminate, just reduce, actually failed to get a majority of Republicans. That would be the left's biggest slush fund, and most Republicans don't want to cut it. Why? Because the GOP has gotten very comfortable in the corrupt DC swamp, and neither Elon nor Trump can force them. Republican voters have to make the change. Speaking of voters, congressional primaries are coming up in just over 7 months, and since very few people bother to vote, your vote counts roughly threefold. If you're listening to this video right now, you are precisely the voters who can fix Republicans in Congress. So what's next? Brought to you by Unchained.com. Elon is still staying involved. He'll spend a day or two per week on Doge, while making Doge permanent is something we need for transparency to keep voter pressure on Congress. As for Doge itself, like Elon, I was originally hoping for big spending cuts to reduce inflation, along with cutting red tape and regulation to help grow the economy. Now, it's done some of this. Deregulation is going fast, and spending growing 8 times less than Biden at least takes us out of the fire, even if we're still in the frying pan. But the biggest legacy of Doge, and a surprise to me anyway, is the industrial-scale corruption it's found, and which is now out in the sunshine. If that corruption keeps voters engaged enough to light a fire under Congress, we could finally break through. In the coming months, we'll get an actual budget from Congress putting their money where their mouth is, soon followed by those primaries, at which point we will know if Doge has changed Washington for good or if the swamp won this round. Okay, we'll be watching. See you next time.
Again, that's Peter St. Onge. It's Prof at Prof St. Onge. It's Prof St. Onge at Peter St. Onge or at Prof St. Onge, excuse me, on X. And great follow, and he has a great Substack if you ever want to do deep dives into the subjects he talks about. Always appreciate his insights. That's why I share them so often. Got to hit another break here in a second, but first, this part of the program brought to you by Alabama Home Mortgage. And they're at Alabama Home Mortgage, Kim Williams and Madeline Cannon are ready to help you whether you're looking to purchase a home, especially you first-time buyers. They can walk you through the process. It might seem a little daunting at first. You might be like, what's even the first step here? Well, it all starts with pre-approval, and they can walk you through every step of the way, all the way to closing day. If you have any confusion and any questions, it's one of the biggest purchases, not the biggest purchase you will make in your life. So you want trusted local professionals like Kim and Madeline there at Alabama Home Mortgage to help guide you through that home buying process. And especially if you're a veteran, they specialize in knowing the latest with the VA home loan programs. They have veterans in their blood there at Alabama Home Mortgage, and they pride themselves on knowing the latest with those home loan programs that you veterans earned through your service. And there are a lot of veterans walking around who don't understand that they are eligible for really the best deal in town. It's the best deal you're going to get on a mortgage. Don't leave money on the table. And this also applies whether you're a veteran or anybody else. They can get you a great refinance deal there at Alabama Home Mortgage. Could be you're looking to get debt off your back, especially credit card debt with those APRs that are through the roof. Or it could be you're looking to reinvest in your property, yourself, your family, maybe kids moving off. You want to help support them. It's money you built up in your home. You can use it how you wish. Maybe you're retired. You want to get down monthly overhead. They can help you with all of that and more at Alabama Home Mortgage. And it's not just here in Alabama. If you're in Tennessee, Georgia, Florida, they can help you out there as well. They are licensed in all those states along with the great state of Alabama. So y'all check them out today. You can always start the conversation by giving them a call at 567-4223. That's 567-4223. Or you can apply online. Get the process going there at myalabamahomemortgage.com. There is a difference in mortgage companies. Let Kim and Madeline prove that to you today. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender. Now, Doge has created, I think, some great systems that are, it's not just about the dollar amount in the year. I think some of these savings you can carry over into multiple years. That these systems now in place that give basic technical accountability will bear fruit for years and years to come. I think that's a great thing. In particular, the change at the Treasury Department has been fantastic. They've, for all the wailing and gnashing of teeth about he's in there getting your data. Well, in just 100 days, Doge has completely changed the U.S. Treasury payment system, and for the better. Doge and Treasury discovered just recently $334 million in improper payment requests due to foul codes. It's a new automated system that flagged budget codes because they were missing, invalid, or unauthorized. And that's just the beginning. I think as you now have this system of accountability in, it will continue to bear fruit down the road, that more and more money won't be going out the door. Again, I wish this applied to more than just the Treasury Department, but it was very needed. And this is a central hub of the government where the money's going out. So you need to at least have basic standards, basic accounting standards that any other major institution in this country might have. But because the federal government can literally just create money out of thin air, they don't even print it, they just put it on a digital balance sheet, that you get all sorts of nonsense going out the door. And so some basic accountability is very much needed. Here is the Treasury Secretary. This is Scott Bessent, earlier this morning on Capitol Hill, being asked to explain some of these changes and what's going on.
For the committee today, what an improper payment is, and some examples of what you're seeing, and why these procedures were not already in place before, Mr. Secretary.
Well, it's a bit mystifying why they weren't in place. And what we are seeing is that there was a very complacent upper level of management in many departments across the across the entire government. What I can say at Treasury, that of the 1.5 billion payments we send out every year, they're required to have something called a TAS, a Treasury account symbol. We discovered that more than one third of those payments did not have a TAS number.
Damn.
So as the Appropriations Committee, you should be shocked by that, because how can a payment be tracked back to an appropriation? Only through the TAS number. So there was no accountability. So that is why the 450 organizations that sit above Treasury, where Treasury acts as the paymaster, are unable to pass an audit. So we have cracked down on that. Every payment now requires a TAS number. Very simple. And I will tell you that the mid-level employees who I have had come into Treasury to talk to me about that feel liberated. That they tell me, I've been here as a heavy and making a difference towards the American taxpayer money.
Beautiful. And this is stuff that really is just common sense. Common sense. Let's go to the phones. Talk to line one. You're on there. Who's this?
It's Charles. How you doing, Joey?
Good. Charles, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I was gonna give you some connections between the way we handled COVID and what happened and into the national Fauci level. Are you familiar with Jean Marazzo?
Jean what?
Marazzo, Marrozzo.
No.
Okay, so she's the connection here. She's a UAB and she studied STDs and HIV, and the governor put her on COVID task force. Well,
okay, yes. I'm recalling this, yes.
Yeah, Caleb Taylor did the article September 16th of last year, where I'm sure what happened was she saw that the Democrats weren't going to win. And she became over the NIH and can control $6.3 billion. Did you know that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, she sent that money back to the exact little department that she worked in at UAB, $158,050 to study transgender men's vaginal issues. Have you got me there?
Well, and I mean, they probably do have a lot of issues with those fake.
Well, I imagine they do, but I mean, you see what I'm saying here, though, that you can imagine that if you're no longer in Washington and you see that your job is going to get got, you sent money back to where you're going to be working. You follow me there?
Yep.
Yeah. So I just thought, I was in complete agreement with you that everybody's getting off the hook from China to every way that you can look at it. And then when you do, you need to kind of remember that these persons some of them were really liberal on our task force telling us what to do. And Scott Harris gave us one of the most restricted of any in the nation. And how we didn't legislatively do anything to stop that from being a future happening any more than we did is also beyond me.
Well, it's kind of what I wrote about today. I think the desire for safety, the average man doesn't want to be free, simply wants to be safe. And I think that plays into the career bureaucrats and the elected officials here. And I'm not saying everybody's a bad person, and some people did stand up, but a lot of folks, when the big bad thing is out there, some hobgoblin, they're not gonna be courageous. They're gonna go along to get along.
Well, I really enjoyed the editorial. You always write really great editorials.
Did you notice it wasn't on the front page today? That was odd.
Yeah, it was.
It was odd. Anyway.
Yeah. All right. Well, everybody have a good day, and thanks for letting me come on there.
Thank you, Charles. Again, 272-9228. Let's go to line 3. You're on there. Who's this?
Hey, it's Troy.
Hey, how you doing?
Are you there? Are you flying solo today?
And I like it. I kind of wanted to take back the reins myself here. Feels good.
Hey, I just wanted to, I think you know this. I worked for the United States Mint, which is a Department of Treasury. I was the Deputy CIO, Chief Information Officer for the Mint. And not only is there an ATAS, which is a Treasury tracking number, there's also a federal dispensary number on it. And the problem is that mid-level managers weren't able to do their jobs because the GS-15s, the GS-14s that were above SESs wanted to have autonomy, I think, inside their fiefdom and would not want numbers assigned. So what I mean is they have a pot of money and they could spend it as they saw fit rather than what the line item numbers were on it. And I think that's a really critical piece for the bureaucracy. I've told you before, the only way we fix this bureaucracy is by gutting the SESs and the top 15 and get back to doing business on the grounds of what our mission statement is in each office.
Before, great point, great call. And before I let you go, what do you think of Hegseth's idea of more GIs, less generals?
Love it. We've been top heavy. Listen, during World War II, we have more generals now than at higher rank over than Major General, which is a 2-star, than we did in the middle of the World War II. Yeah. We have all these different subsets. We have Army Materials Command 4-star. We've got a Logistics Command 3-star, and it's just we don't need that. We need more gunslingers, and we need more Indians, less chiefs.
Here.
That simple.
Love it. Well, I appreciate it,
See you
Troy.
on Monday, brother.
Sounds good. Look forward to it. We got to hit this quick break. Be right back.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Are you tired of the mainstream media's biased reporting? Do you want to stay informed on the news that really matters to you? Look no further than 1819 News. At 1819 News, we bring you the latest in Alabama news, politics, sports, culture, and more. We've assembled a team of journalists with Alabama values dedicated to the truth and the truth alone. Visit us at 1819news.com today. That's 1819news.com. Subscribe to our newsletter. Honest News, Alabama Values.
I'm Jim Smith with Adams Drugs, and what our customers say about our business is the most important advertising tool. I'm here with Ronnie Taunton, who is a longtime customer of Adams Drugs, moved away for 3 years, and came back to town recently. Ronnie, how easy was it to move your business back to Adams Drugs?
Jim, it was very easy. All we did was make a phone call to the store in Prattville. That's where we live now, and they took it from there, and I didn't do anything else.
What has your overall experience been like here at Adams Drugs?
Well, we are glad to be back with Adams. We've had quite an experience in some towns we lived in, and they have great service. You can tell that the employees are glad to be there to serve you, and I couldn't ask for any more. Whatever formula the Vinson family has, they need to keep it in a safe place because it's certainly working.
Come into any of our 12 Adams Drugs locations. Visit us at adamsdrugs.net to find the location nearest you. Adams Drugs is your independently owned Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, taking the time to listen and care.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
Live, local talk. The River Region's most trusted voice for news and opinion. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Welcome back. Let's go right to the phones and talk to this gentleman in a while. Crawdad is on the line. Hey, Crawdad.
Good afternoon, Joey Clark.
How you doing?
I took a look at this new president. Last time I took a look at the president of Mexico was Vicente Fox, and that's been a while. When Fox was rolling, one of his platforms for Mexican people and outside of Mexico was dealing with the crime and the cartels. Mm-hmm. The lady that is now president, I heard her, not personally, I think I heard something about what she was saying about being afraid being down there. Mm. And I understand that, but looking deeper at her as a person, her background, seems to me like she is far than left. She is like almost communist because I read about her mother, father, and herself. I have no problem with her as a person, but how is that going to play when we're interacting with Mexico and petroleum, gas, and other issues besides her political? But she seems to be almost communist to me. Have you taken a look at her in any way?
Not in that amount of detail. I'd imagine it's not going to be too much of a problem. I wonder how much she's actually in bed with some of the cartels. I believe many of her opponents in that election ended up shot and dead.
You see, you scared me there. I hadn't even thought of that. That's pretty scary.
Right. I think, she understands, just as like with Mark Carney of Canada there today, that they can only go so far with the United States and Trump. Trump really does hold unbelievable leverage. The United States does. Trump's just willing to use it. And they'll play ball in the things that really matter to him. As far as actually getting their countries better off, their economies better off, I mean, I don't know. And honestly, it's not my country. So y'all can do what you want.
One last thing, Joey Clark. Look this one up because when we tried to help Mexico years ago, we were buying bonds. It was Tesa Bonos. That's what it's called in Spanish, Tesa Bonos.
Mm-hmm.
And we were trying to help them that way.
It was the Greenspan put in the early 90s, backing up the peso?
Even before that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, even before that. So sorry about that, but we had the let me see what we call it, the University of the Americas. We were trying to also work right there where Panama is, and we had the zone, and we even had Manuel Noriega come to University of Americas. Anyway, that's a long story. We've tried to help the Latin America so much before, and what do? They take it and they spit in our face.
Yeah, and I think it's also mixed signals. I think if you were, say, living in one of those countries on the outside looking at the United States, you would see our country as sort of at least a two-headed monster that can't make up its mind. The parties have different interests, the different political cliques want different sort of movements down there. And it kind of became our playground to mess with, our hemisphere to mess with, and been all over the place. And hopefully this is a consistent reset. I think Marco Rubio has actually been doing some pretty damn good work.
That was a really good move putting him in that spot. And back to this president lady in Mexico, I think she's about as savvy as they get. It's probably the savviest president they've ever had there. So I hope that we can work with her good. I hope she's short. What you said just scared me. I'm crossing my fingers. That's not true, please.
We'll see. I appreciate it, Crawdad.
Thank you, sir.
This part of the program brought to you by Montgomery Men's Health. And they're at Montgomery Men's Health. They're ready to help you fellas out, especially if you just don't feel yourself. If you don't feel that extra energy, drive, that edge that once, made you who you were. But you're not that person anymore. Maybe you never were that person. There are a lot of guys in their 20s with testosterone problems. But of course, naturally, as life goes on, guys in their 40s, 50s, 60s, they start to slow down. You start to see a slower metabolism. You're not sleeping well. Like you lay down for 8 hours, but when you wake up, you're still exhausted. You lack energy and motivation, including no sex drive, no libido to speak of. If all these things are happening at once, gentlemen, you got to get by Montgomery Men's Health. They're very discreet. And the providers there will conduct a testosterone-focused lab workup plus a consultation for only $99. That really just means a quick blood draw. They ask you a few basic quality of life questions to just see how you're doing across the board. And when that score comes back, you do have low T. They have treatments there that can truly change men's lives. Some, they can change how you feel the same day. There's a whole option of treatments, but after treatment, men usually experience higher energy, better gains in the gym, better mental clarity, improved sleep patterns, a faster metabolism, and you usually even notice an increased libido, which ain't nothing wrong with that. And you can actually book the same day that you call. Get by there. Call them up at 440-3663. That's 440-3663. Or go to MontgomeryMen'sHealth.com to book your appointment today. And be sure to tell them that Joey fella, that guy on the radio, sent you.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. Rescue crews in Texas have found the body of a 10-year-old girl swept away by rapidly rising floodwaters. People scoured the city of Brenham using drones and thermal imaging and dogs to find the girl. Forecasters warning more heavy rains and flooding could be on the way to southeast Texas. Utah's first in the nation fluoride ban in public drinking water takes effect today. It could be followed closely by a ban in Florida. The Ohio and Carolina legislatures are considering similar measures. A small boat believed to be carrying migrants capsized early Monday off San Diego's coast and left 3 people dead and 4 injured, while the U.S. Coast Guard crews are searching for 7 others. On Wall Street, the Dow dropping 301 points, the Nasdaq off 108. This is SRN News.
Your dog's diet should be as colorful as yours. Dr. Fido's is a dog food topper made with 40 ingredients made from whole foods, designed to enrich your dog's diet with a variety of fruits, vegetables, spices, and fibers. And the best part, just stir into their food and you're done. It's that easy. Go to drfidos.com and order today. Vet developed, dog trusted. This is the human grade dog food topper that gives you peace of mind. But don't just take our word for it.
She's an Australian cattle dog on the farm. She's been used to work cattle and lots of miles under her feet, and she is happier on the Dr. Fido's. I've been super impressed.
Don't let your dog miss out. Call 888-388-PAWS, PAWS, or go to drfidos.com, drphytos.com. And for a limited time, order now and receive a 10% discount with our money-back guarantee by using promo code BALANCE.
Rich Thomas weather, a service of Wiley Sanders Truck Lines, where over-the-road dump truck drivers are needed right now. Home twice a week and every weekend, must leave early on Sunday with Blue Cross Blue Shield. Call them now at 855-777-9785.
Rich Thomas weather.
Well, hi, everybody. It's hard to improve on today's forecast. Really nice, comfortable, low humidity, at least some partial sunshine. High today up to about 82. We're dry through the evening hours tonight, but the risk of scattered showers and thunderstorms begins in the overnight hours. Low temperature 64. Then periods of showers and storms for the next few days as a parade of storm systems moves through. Scattered showers and storms at times Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and maybe even Saturday and Sunday too. It's not going to rain all the time. Highs during the daytime mostly in the 70s, lows at night mostly in the 60s. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
1819 News.
The Spanish Fork Public Library Board has unanimously approved a new policy surrounding sexually explicit content within the children and teen sections of that library. The new policy involves the selection process of those books, the deselection process, as well as book challenges. The policy language says that determining if a book is age appropriate and safe for minors is not a form of censorship. The city attorney, David Connor, told 1819 News that the policy is designed to take into account the interests of all persons involved and to be graceful, merciful, and respectful in that. With this new policy, books that created controversy due to their sexual explicitness or harmful content have now been moved to the adult section and require parental approval for checkout by children or teens. The chairman of the Alabama Public Library Service, John Wall, says he is very pleased with the efforts that have been taken by the Spanish Fork Public Library Board. Wall says they're doing a great job in representing their community. I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
I'm Amy Beth Shaver with Alabama Unfiltered Radio, and when I need the news and I need it fast, I turn to Andrea Tice and the Daily Detail. On my way in, it is the most convenient, best way for me to digest what's going on so that I can use it for our show. She tells you what's going on in Alabama that day first and fast. So listen to the Daily Detail with Andrea Tice. Don't miss out.
The Daily Detail is available wherever podcasts are found.
The National Weather Service has confirmed that an EF1 tornado did enter the state this past weekend. That twister touched down on Saturday in Jackson County. The tornado had a path of 13 miles with winds of 100 miles per hour. No human injuries were reported. The Mobile County Health Department says they have a confirmed case of encephalitis caused by a tick bite. When a person is walking into the woods, they should wear long shirts and long pants to avoid getting ticks on their skin and therefore getting bitten. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
It's time to show Mom how much you appreciate her with a Jenny Lynn's floral creation for Mother's Day. Skip the grocery store flowers and make one quick call. 285-1000. Roses, lilies, beautiful bouquets, and gift baskets designed just for Mom. Call Jenny Lynn's Creations, 285-1000.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
What's your biggest investment? More than likely, it's your home. So treat it that way when you hire a painting contractor. At PBS Painting, there are no gimmicks, no $99 specials, just quality painting and someone who treats your home with the same respect that you do. At PBS Painting, we have been painting for years and look forward to many more years to come. With PBS Painting, the job gets prepped properly, whether it's cleaning, scraping, or priming. We always use quality products, which is a must for a quality paint job. So if you're looking for a painter that doesn't need upfront money and is on the job at all times, then please give me a call. Scott Bowers and PBS Painting, 294-5122. That's PBS Painting, 294-5122. Look at some of our work on Facebook at PBS Painting Montgomery.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's News and Views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. The News and Views in the afternoon. First, we call this show online Joey Clark Live. You can always catch a segment you might have missed or caught the tail end of Joey Clark Live on YouTube. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit the updates like bell there, that updates button. So when I go live, you actually get a notification. Of course, you can always watch on the X platform or on Facebook. Again, that's Joey Clark. On X, it's at the Joey Clark. Facebook, it's just Joey Clark, and Joey Clark Live on YouTube. Now, I think Mark Carney, the Prime Minister of Canada, was a little embarrassed today, and it makes more sense if you feel a mashup. And the question I have in mind were Canadian boomers who really put the Liberals over the top hoodwinked. Well, I mean, the question answers itself. The boomers are always a little bit hoodwinked. Sometimes I think they want to be fooled, especially up there in Canada. But somebody did a little mashup of what happened in the Oval Office today, as well as what Carney was saying on the campaign trail to Canadians. It's interesting how things change when you actually are face-to-face with the President of the United States, in particular this president. Let's see the mashup here.
I don't think we can change Donald Trump. I don't think so. Not at this stage.
All right.
No.
Why not?
Just the way it is. And a person who draws his nation will kneel down before him.
You're a transformational president, focus on the economy with the relentless on America, securing your borders, ending the scourge of fentanyl and other opioids, and and securing the world.
Before he stands up to him, he's in sync with President Trump.
I thought you were excellent, and I think we have a lot of things in common.
Kara Polyev is also choosing to be willfully blind to the many and growing threats that face our country.
We don't really want cars from Canada, and we put tariffs on cars from Canada, and at a certain point, it won't make economic sense for Canada to build those cars. And we don't want steel from Canada because we're making our own steel, and we're having massive steel plants being built right now as we speak. We really don't want Canadian steel, and we don't want Canadian aluminum and various other things.
What the big companies are producing, by and large, are not products that we are consuming. There's some element of that, but by and large, a steel company, how much steel are you using these days, Todd? I mean, not as much we used to. Sorry, so
Trudeau, when I spoke to him, I used to call him Governor Trudeau. I think that probably didn't help his election. But when I spoke to him, I said, so why are we taking your cars? Why are we taking we want to make them ourselves. I mean, I said, and if the price of your cars went up, or if we put a tariff on your cars of 25%, what would that mean to you? He said that would mean the end of Canada. But no, I mean, justify subsidizing Canada to the tune of maybe $200 billion a year. We protect Canada militarily, and we always will. We're not going to, that's not a money thing. But we always will. But, it's not fair.
Yeah, Carney squirming. He's very uncomfortable in that moment. And I love how he ran on standing up to Donald Trump. And when he's actually in the Oval Office, well, what was he going to pull as Zelensky? I don't think that would work out well for anybody, and certainly not Canadians or their new prime minister. Skipping ahead to another English-speaking world, in fact, where we all came from, or most of us came from. I mean, I guess I'm partly from the British Isles, but also quite a big old Polak over here. And big old's kind of misleading. I'm a Polak. I'm Polish. I have Polish descent. But, where the Kings comes from. And that is some trouble going on for labor over there. And Nigel Farage is, I think, seeing the moment that he can actually go after the current prime minister over there, Keir Starmer. Now, Reform's doing better in polling. And again, this is a worldwide populist movement. The current liberal globalist elites, if you can even call them liberals at this point, they're doing everything they can to hold this back. I mean, you see what they just did in Germany, like wanting to brand the second most popular party in the country as extremist. And it'll be like the Nazis all over again. I don't think banning them is going to make y'all more popular. I think it's actually counterproductive and radicalizes people more. That said, in the UK, things are not getting better. And it looks like Nigel Farage is out with a message saying two-tier Keir betrays British workers. Let's listen in together.
Has signed a free trade deal with India. Good, you might think. India, very, very important country, and one with whom we do need
big country,
closer links and relations. And yet, if you look at the detail, it's truly extraordinary. So a company can transfer workers from India to the UK. Those workers here will not pay any national insurance for at least 3 years. So at the very same time, they're getting a big tax exemption. Taxes on British workers have been put up since the Labour government came to power. Worse still, remember what happened at the budget? Employers' national insurance went up by 2% for each worker, costing companies on average at least £1,000 a year per worker. And yet, companies that bring in Indian workers, the companies themselves will pay no national insurance either. It means overall, it's about 20% cheaper to employ an Indian after this deal than it is to employ a British worker. On top of that, there are no limits to this deal at all. And bear in mind that 500,000 people, yes, 500,000 people, have come into the UK from India in the last 2 years alone. It's honestly impossible to predict how many hundreds of thousands more will come on this deal.
It's amazing. Like how much, like it's a foreign country, obviously. We can just somewhat understand their language. But the common themes across cultures, across countries, across nations. Why is it that the working class always gets the short end of the stick? And from, of all people, the Labor Party. It's the same thing, I guess, that happened to Democrats here in this country. You became the party of the coastal elites. You became the party of Wall Street. You became the party of the big financiers and the multinational corporations. It's truly remarkable. Again, this isn't my country, so why should I care? Well, the reason I care about Canada and the UK and a lot of the English-speaking world, which includes India and Australia and all these places, is this is a new era we're entering into. We need to know who our steadfast friends are. And it's one thing to talk a big game and say, oh, we have a special relationship and yada, yada, yada. But wouldn't it be amazing to have a government in the United Kingdom that actually wants to work hand in hand with the Trump administration? That you might have some differences of opinion, but at the end of the day, we kind of are in the same slipstream within the same philosophy of how to govern and how to take care of the working class, restrict immigration. And see, these games have been going on for a while. I think a lot of people have just been focused, rightfully so, on their own backyard. But it's kind of remarkable how these divides, these political divides, don't just stay within one nation. In fact, you start to get coalitions that stretch across, again, different nations, different countries. So Godspeed to Nigel Farage. I thought he was a little lost in the wilderness there after the poor showing by Reform in the last election they held. Maybe the British public just needed the Labour to come in. But it's kind of, it's Looney Tunes in many parts of the world. Problem with the UK and Canada is, you got the CBC, the Canadian Broadcasting Company, you got the BBC. You've got this stranglehold using taxpayer dollars that creates a central narrative for these countries that is bought and paid for and sold to the people like the latest product. In particular, the most advertised, mass marketed to generation across countries, the boomers. So we'll see. Godspeed, Nigel Farage. I loved it when Brexit happened, though they kind of didn't follow through with that very well. But I did love it when it happened. It sort of shocked the world. In a way, it was foreshadowing a presage of Trump and the shock here in 2016. And again, the follow-through isn't always the best, but with enough time, if you keep pushing, you keep pressing, we might actually get something out of this. Now, if you weren't listening earlier, Trump announced in the Oval Office today while sitting next to the Prime Minister of Canada that they have a truce with the Houthis. Remarkable. If you have a very clear, discrete goal, not of regime change, not of nation building, not of like playing different sides against one another, you just have a simple, discrete military goal of stop shooting at our naval vessels, stop shooting at international shipping lanes, and we'll stop bombing the crap out of you. And apparently, a truce has been reached between the Houthis and the Americans. Now, Israel continues to crank up the volume and turn up the heat. Apparently, Israeli strikes at Yemen's airport. This is after Houthi missiles got into and hit Israel, and I believe their airport. Israel now starting what they claim will be a long campaign to completely conquer Gaza militarily. Gotta wonder what's the next move there. I mean, you keep pushing on. The irony is a lot of the families of hostages are saying, well, this is almost, you're signing the death warrant of our family members, our friends that are being held hostage if you go in with this campaign. But it's not like Hamas is budging anytime soon. And honestly, it's not like Hamas didn't plan this. They used 18 years to build these tunnel networks. 18 years of planning to use on purpose civilians, especially women and children, as part of their defensive weapons. It's a horrible form of warfare. As much as I could say the Israelis are playing into that they win the battle on the actual battlefield, but they're losing the hybrid war in terms of hearts and minds around the world. It's not my country. No, I'm not really prepared to talk about this. There's something I find odd about how over the top, like really passionate, whether happy, angry, whatever, people get over the Israel question. People get over the Israel-Palestine question and war there. Whether it's over-the-top support or over-the-top condemnation. And to me, that's two foreign countries. I would like to see peace. I would like to see the cycle of violence ended. Honestly, at this point, don't have too much faith in a two-state solution, given people, very smart folks or whatever, been talking about that for what? A few generations now? How's that worked out? Or these peace deals end up with Israel taking more land and the leaders of the Palestinians getting more money, and then we're right back to the fighting again. At the end of the day, I'd like to see peace. What sometimes confuses me is how my fellow Americans, whether they're for or against, let's say, Israel, how hardcore they get about it, how passionate they get about it. You got to wonder why. At the end of the day, I think I would cut off all foreign aid, including to Israel, but all nations. Wouldn't be picking on them. In many ways, I think Israel can defend themselves. And in some ways, their defense industry and their standards might even be better if they're not as tied to the hip to us. But we're in the middle of this now. I'm sure it's messy. There's a lot of things happening behind the scenes with the shuttle diplomacy, or not so much diplomacy, given the fighting continues. But I do wonder, why does this one particular issue sway hearts and minds one way or the other so much? I've seen it with friends on either side of it. It's curious, to put it mildly. But again, next week, Trump is to visit Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the UAE. Trump teasing some big announcement on it's going to be something positive, is what he said today in the Oval Office. Though he wouldn't say what it was. All I can tell you, it's big, it's bold. It hadn't happened. It's on an issue people care about a long time. And it's positive. That's all the President of the United States would say. Well, we'll see. He's going to be teasing us a little bit longer. Again, 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. That's 334-272-9228. This is part of the program, again, brought to you by Josh and Leslie Ryder there at Dillon Rings. And as I mentioned earlier, they're a full-service jewelry shop there at Dillon Rings. They can do it all. Incredible selection and repair work. Maybe you have a piece that's completely broken, or you can tell it's about to break, like a stone isn't set fully correctly. That would be a shame if a precious gemstone actually fell out of your ring or your necklace or your bracelet, and you don't know where it fell. Like, you can't find it. Before you ever have an issue like that, have Josh repair it. Do a simple repair. And then, of course, they can also do spa treatments to clean up that jewelry and make it shine and shimmer like it's brand new again, especially that jewelry you love that you wear all the time. You don't want it to look worn out. You love it for a reason. You want it back to its original condition. They can also do things like appraisals, custom design work, second to none. But gentlemen, think of like a battery replacement on that watch you love or watch repair you need. Again, they can do it all across the board, a full-service jewelry shop at Dillon Rings. You can always check them out on Facebook. That's DYLAN Rings, Dillon Rings on Facebook. or just stop by 119 Brown Springs Road right here in Montgomery. That's just off of Atlanta Highway, sort of the back end entrance to the AUM complex there off of Atlanta Highway, a little before Taylor Road. And be sure to tell Josh and Leslie Ryder when you stop by that Joey, that fella on the radio, sent you. We'll be right back.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/radio, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com. This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
This is your roving reporter, and today I am talking with an elk. Hey man. Mr. Elk, I was just wondering, what do elk do to take care of their money? Well, like most smart folks, we call David Ernest. You mean Alabama's most favorite asset preservationist? That's him, man. We call him up at 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. I see. Yes, he is our preferred money man. The money man with the money plan. You've been paying attention. Well, could you give us those numbers one more time? 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. And I just want to try to give you a heads up, man. Oh, what's that? I'm not an elk. Not an elk, huh? Well, then, pray tell, what are you? Knights of Columbus. I am not even going to make a comment. Well, the baby liked it.
iTaco has delicious, authentic Mexican food. Enjoy breakfast, lunch, and dinner at iTaco. Tasty shredded beef street tacos, even lamb tacos on Saturdays. That's iTaco on Decker Lane, right across from Arrowhead off the Atlanta Highway.
Hi, this is Danny with High Caliber Gun and Pawn. November, we'll be celebrating 10 years of doing business in the river region, and Blue Water Broadcasting has been an integral part of that 10 years. High Caliber Gun and Pawn, we say we are a step above the rest, and Blue Water Broadcasting definitely is that step.
Blue Water Broadcasting is the #1 most listened to radio group in the river region. Find out how to put this reach to work for your business. Call us to find out how we can help. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks helping local business.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is #1 in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of Riverside Chevrolet Wetumpka. If it's Chevy, it's Riverside. Best price, best selection. Check them out on the web at riversideusa.net.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. Weather for the rest of the week will be rather unsettled, but I think we're dry through the evening hours tonight. The risk of showers and thunderstorms begins in the overnight hours. Low temperature 61. And then we've got a parade of storm systems for several days. There will be periods of showers and thunderstorms Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's not going to rain all the time. Just be flexible with your plans. Mid-70s Wednesday, near 80 Thursday and Friday.
From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
ASE's 25 and 25 has you covered. For just $25 in closing costs, you can tap into your home's equity. No hidden fees, no headaches, just extra cash. Visit your local ASE Credit Union branch today. Federally insured by NCUA. NMLS 420259. Terms apply.
ASE Credit Union. Your life, your cause, your ASE.
The River Region's News Talk Station. News Talk 93.1, WACV. News Talk 93.1.
Yourself in a democracy.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Only about 30 minutes ago. 30 more shopping minutes here in the show. Now, I have an amazing clip from Coach Tommy Tuberville. And here's what I mean by amazing. It's on the overtime tax. And it makes me wonder if senators behind the scenes are fighting back against an actual tax relief on overtime at the federal level. So this is Tuberville. Let's listen in what he had to say about this giving tax relief to overtime workers.
The Overtime Tax, Wage and Tax Relief Act will give relief to people that actually are not laying on the couch, but are putting in extra time to make this country work. It's simple. If you work extra hours, you get extra pay. And a majority of that does not go to state and federal government. The government didn't earn it. These people that are working earned it. And this is a common sense bill. It sends a message to the country that hard work matters. I dealt with kids all my life, and I told them, you got one thing that this country gives you is an opportunity. If you want to work hard, you can achieve anything and everything that you want in life. And I'm proud that my state of Alabama was the first to pass the State Overtime Tax Exemption Act. And I'm hopeful that the federal government will do the same.
Well, Coach, I don't know if somebody told you, but Alabama's taking that away now. And giving the extra cent off on the grocery tax that was promised last year, a few years back anyway. So they're taking away one big Christmas gift from last year and just speeding up another deferred Christmas gift that was already promised last year. Without all the metaphor, they're taking away the overtime tax exemption. Apparently, we couldn't afford it, as KIV signs a $14 billion expenditure of both budgets combined, with probably another $2 billion in supplementals about to be tacked on. $16 billion. And you couldn't afford the $200 to $300 million for overtime workers here in the state after you give them tax-free overtime pay in regards to the state income tax for 17 months? We couldn't figure that out. I agree, Coach. You should be proud. Alabama was one of the first. What I'm worried about, well, hear it again.
Alabama was the first to pass the State Overtime Tax Exemption Act. And I'm hopeful that the federal government will do the same.
Well, now I'm worried the federal government's going to follow suit. That after trying it, we're like, oh, no, it costs too much money. We got to give that money to somebody else. It's absolutely infuriating. And I do wonder if Tuberville's just doing this to do it, or if there is worry that this isn't going to get through the one big, beautiful bill. Something I might be asking Senator Britt about. Given it's one big, beautiful bill, there's all sorts of things we could talk about in that thing. She'll be on the program tomorrow, a little after 2 o'clock. So I love that Coach Tuberville, Senator Tuberville, is fighting the good fight for Trump's agenda to help out, again, working class people. That is the core of the Trump message. And you can get distracted by all the glitz and glam and all the insults and all the worry and woe of he's a fascist dictator or whatever. If you want to drink from the toilet, go ahead. You can enjoy that stuff. If we keep our frickin' eye on the ball, what you want is an economy to where the working class can get ahead. Treasury Secretary Bessent was just laying that out today on Capitol Hill. That real wages went up for the working class in the first Trump term. They're trying to do that again. When you actually look at net wealth, the bottom 50% went up a lot more during the first Trump term. The idea is to focus on those working class Americans, as they say, the forgotten men and women of America, that is clearly a coalition that is unusual by at least the predictions and expectations of the ruling class, the globalists in this country and other countries. Oh no, why did Hispanic men and black men and young people in general, especially young men though, why did they all go to Trump? Some of it has to do with your crazy social issues, of course. But then some of it has to do with a lot of men just want you to clear the way for them. We can do for ourselves, thank you very much. Just get the government out of our way. Let us build a life here. Stop blaming us for all the frickin' problems in this world. There are plenty of problems to go around. And a great way to do that, to reward the hardest working people, is to remove the tax on overtime. It should stay on here in the state of Alabama, but the crooks over there at Goat Hill are taking it away. So I hope the feds don't follow Alabama's suit of like, well, we'll give it and then we'll take it away. There's some talk of people, like they did here in the state, wanting to sunset it on the federal level. It's just, it's infuriating. Something like this makes me want to get a divorce. I don't even know from whom. But it's that sort of thing that's, who's holding back the agenda? Who's actually holding these things back? That said, I want to shift gears. Hey, to the topic of divorce. You know, I know there are a lot of guys out there. My age, I'm about 36. Older than me, younger than me. Maybe you've gotten married and you already got divorced. God forbid you had kids and you got divorced. It's the worst thing in the world. I'm not judging. I've heard plenty of situations where it's just kind of inevitable. The die is cast, so to speak. But that's the worst thing. When you got married, you had kids, and all of a sudden, the relationship's over. There are a lot of guys who didn't get married. They stayed home. They played video games. They got high or whatever. Or they just focused on their career. Built a house or something. Maybe they'd find some person down the road. If they, if you build it, they will come. Something like that. There are a lot of young men who are wary of marriage. And it's really created, I think, in part, as I was just talking about, this cultural shift that is affecting our politics. As I've said many times before in the show, especially leading up to the election in 2024, the biggest divide in American politics is probably between single men and single women. In particular, single women love themselves some Democrat. And there are a lot of explanations why, but it is a massive discrepancy between those two groups. People who get married tend to balance each other out, soften one another's extreme views. Of course, it always depends on the individual, but on average, that's what happens. But, I'm going to try to venture some advice, through somebody else, to young men. And hey, I know women don't listen to this show, but if you're a lady out there listening, maybe this will work for you too. It takes two to tango, right? The idea is people that get prenups, you heard me, prenuptial agreements, tend to stay together more so than people who don't.
I've done probably hundreds, if not thousands, of prenups over 25 years. I think there may be 5 people that I did their divorce after they had a prenup.
Really?
Yeah.
I think people need to hear that again.
I think that, yeah. So I've done hundreds, if not at least 1,000 prenups in 25 years. I probably do 2 or 3 prenups a week. So I do a lot of prenups. Most of my colleagues do a lot of prenups. And I've never asked my colleagues this, but usually when you do a prenup, you have a good relationship with the person by the time it's finished. It's a transaction people feel good about. It's a divorce. Sometimes you finish a divorce and the person's like, oh my God, I never want to see you again because you remind me of this really dark chapter. But prenups, it's usually a very friendly transaction. It's positive.
This is surprising to me. So people who prenup tend not to break up. Yes, that rhymes.
Yes. Yes.
I think many people will be very surprised to hear
I
that.
think it's self-selecting. I think the kind of people who can have a conversation that you need to have in order to discuss and negotiate. And again, there's another term. I don't think it's the right term, negotiate a prenup. Negotiate gives the impression it's like you're buying a car, like the kind of people who can have the conversations you need to have in order to have a prenuptial agreement, I think are the kind of people that are going to be successfully married, period.
So gentlemen, maybe you're the type that can talk it out. Maybe that's a good sorting mechanism. Ladies, you too. Demand a prenup. Not on the first date, but you know what I'm talking about. At least bring up the issue if it's starting to get serious. And if somebody's so against it, now there might be folks that are like extremely devout in their faith. And actually, that's a great sign. People that are extremely devout in their faith tend not to get divorced either. I don't mean just on outward signs. Like they truly believe it. They see this as a covenant they are making between themselves in front of those they love, but in front of God himself. This is a lifelong commitment in sickness and in health, till death do us part. So, say a devout Catholic gal who would never think of a prenup, well, you probably are going to have something that lasts there, because what's stronger than a prenup may be like actual fear of God. But not everybody's going to find that. We live in a strange world. So maybe a good sorting mechanism could be down the road, things getting serious, before you pop the big question. Maybe after. I don't know. I got to ask that lawyer who I just played the clip of, when's the right time to bring up the prenuptials? That's counterintuitive. And it makes sense what he just said, that people that could talk through a prenup probably are going to be able to manage most problems that break up marriages. And if they do end up getting divorced, then, you got a prenup. Crazy world. Let's go to line 1. You're on there. Who's this?
Hi, it's Debbie.
Hey, Debbie. How are you?
I'm good. Long time no hear. Sorry I missed you.
Yeah.
My mother told me something years ago that really stuck with me about prenups. Jacqueline Onassis. She was very, very wealthy when she married Mr. Onassis, and she had a huge prenup that really was eye-opening as to what she would get each year she was married to the man. And so my mother told me, she said she knows her value.
Well, and if you're going to get married to a guy named Aristotle, you better watch it.
But she made a point, though. Never sell yourself cheap. Know your value and stand your ground. And so that goes both ways with a husband and a wife.
Oh, yeah. No, and it's fascinating that if you can have, that's a, because you want to be romantic about it and all these other things, like bringing up the sort of legal and dollars and cents from the get-go might be gross to some people and not very romantic at all. But if you could get through that, it makes a lot of sense to me that those folks could get through most anything, probably stay together.
Mm-hmm, because they actually can sit down, like you were talking about negotiating, but they can figure out what it is that they feel should be, given and taken, whatever you want to say. throughout a certain amount of years. And if you get to that grand old age, well, you've already got everything by that time anyway. But it's still wonderful to think that you can stand up and say, I am worth more than just a promise. I want proof. And that's something that in today's world means a lot more than just a hollow promise to, unfortunately, a lot of these marriages.
That's
Don't be afraid. Put your money where your mouth is. Show that you mean it.
Well, I appreciate the call, Debbie. Great to hear from you.
Good to hear from you guys. Have a good one.
Do 272-9228. That's 334-272-9228. Turn that camera a little more. A little more. All right.
Better?
Yeah, Pamela is here. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. And you're wearing black today, as usual, but
Well,
you got the Dale Earnhardt
I know.
sweatshirt on.
That's my man.
It's pretty awesome.
I love him.
You a big NASCAR fan, or you just a fan of Earnhardt?
Both. I grew up watching NASCAR.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't, but
Yeah.
it's just it's not a world I ever was dragged into by like uncles or or friends or anything.
Oh yeah. The side of my family that I grew up with is redneck.
Now, would you just watch on TV, or did you ever go to some of the events?
I've gone to them. Yeah. I went to Talladega, not this past October, but the one before. And there's a racetrack in New Hampshire called Loudon that I've gone to.
Is it better in person?
It depends on the atmosphere that you're into for the weekend.
Sure.
Yeah. It is.
I'm almost imagining like a crazy tailgate before a football game would be
it is
comparable.
times a million.
Okay.
Yep. But when I have stayed at the track, it's camping and it is just all out 24/7 party.
All right.
Now I'm not as into that, but I was like in my early 20s, and that was fun. But now I could not hang with that for sure. It would be very overstimulating.
What's it called when you stay not in the stands, but in the center there? Like the field in the center of the
yes.
track?
I know what you're talking about, and I can't.
That would probably be intense.
That is, yes. I've done that, and then we've stayed off the track, which I prefer because I like a small campground type atmosphere. I do not like the 24/7 party.
Oh, you're right
it's a
though.
lot.
Those 24/7 parties are just like it hurts for me to drink like 2 beers now.
You need days to recover
Yes.
after you do that. Yeah.
Not exaggerating.
No, not exaggerating.
So what do you think of this whole prenup thing? That the people that get prenuptial agreements tend to actually stay together more than folks who don't on average.
I can believe that. It takes two very mature people to agree to that. And that just, I'm sure they carry their maturity through a lot of the issues in their marriage and are able to get through a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's not all, picking out wedding dresses and rings and,
It's real.
Yeah.
Marriage and divorce, very real.
Yes. Somebody just messaged me saying, Susanna and I celebrated 25 years of marriage this past Sunday.
Aw.
Been together 30 years. And of course, that message came from Eddie Bader.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations, Eddie and Susanna. That's awesome.
That's great.
And you think back, like, I'd never want to pry into people's details, but I'd imagine over 30 years, you have highs and lows, you have peaks and valleys, you have changed. My God, you've
Big
changed
time.
probably.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, it's like you can't imagine not having that person there with you. Some people just get under the skin, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
even more than all those like tattoos you get on yourself,
Yeah.
which I think are awesome, by the way. Yeah, no, that's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. Congratulations, Xana
That
and
is
Eddie.
something to aspire to.
Well, I mean, and having to put up with Eddie Two Pies all these years, my God, he's always blowing and going. He's always like, what's that?
Always be closing.
Right. Mhm.
Always be closing.
And for folks who are wondering, where was he today? He had to go walk a property.
It looked amazing and
Yeah.
eclectic.
And there was one, he sent me a video
Yeah.
where it was like he was like thinking about, should I cross a certain path that doesn't look right? And all of a sudden he finds There's a snake.
Another snake. Mm-hmm.
Man, I don't like. He's seen way too many snakes for my liking the last just few weeks.
I know. We just moved out to the country, and I haven't seen any snakes yet. But we have a creek behind the house, and I'm like, okay, when it's when, not if.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. 272-9228. Oh, look at the time. I got to hit this break. But first, this part of the program brought to you by Pest Pro Services. And there at Pest Pro, Ashley and that fantastic team are ready to help you with any and all of your pest control needs. Of course, basic pest control protection, where they'll come and spray on a regular basis. You'll just be part of their regular trips. They'll be visiting you on a regular basis, like I just said. And of course, they can do termite protection, where that at least should be done on a yearly basis to make sure you don't have the termite problem in the first place. Because if you're not getting that checked, if you're not getting a termite inspection, you're not getting protection put in place, you are playing with a very costly problem, playing with fire in a big way. They're called silent destroyers for a reason. You can think, oh, we're fine. Then all of a sudden, that crown molding right there on the windowsill goes to sawdust. Yeah, that's going to be an expensive thing. Call Pest Pro like right now if you hadn't had your property inspected for termites in years. And of course, they can also do that with mosquito treatments. And it's not like they just come out once, you got to hassle them to come back again. No, they'll get you on a regular schedule to where you can actually enjoy your backyard or front porch, enjoy your property. And I think they visit like 8 times a year, the peak times of mosquito season here in Alabama. And mosquitoes, they can be vectors for disease. And they're just annoying. You're trying to enjoy yourself, often sitting out back after a great meal. Maybe you got a pool or something. It can be a wonderful experience. Some of the best conversations you might ever have. But if you got mosquitoes biting you, especially going for that sweet meat right on the ankle, ooh, and it itches, and you're like, I'm trying to wax philosophical here, and now I'm worried about that nasty little thing sucking my blood. Anyway, they can help you and make sure that doesn't happen at Pest Pro Services. Call them up today, 265-9990. That's 265-9990. Or you can always go to ppsriverregion.com to learn more, or just search for Pest Pro Services on the Book of Faces. What do you want to know? Call a pro. Pest Pro Services, and be sure to tell Ashley and that great team that Joey, that fella on the radio, sent you.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
In May, it's time to save at Pizza Perfect. Get $3 off any large pizza. Pizza Perfect is known for its buffet, which includes pizza, as well as spaghetti, breadsticks, salad, dessert, and drink for only $13. The buffet is available Monday through Saturday for lunch and for dinner on Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday. This month, get $3 off any large pizza at Pizza Perfect on Coliseum Boulevard in Eastbrook. Available for carryout and delivery.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number 1 in the number 2 business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Live local talk. The River Region's only 24-hour News Talk FM station. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Welcome back. Let's go right to the phones and talk to Ray Bowles from Prattville Carpet. Hey, Ray, how you doing?
Dan, we are great. How about you guys?
Fantastic today.
Riding out to the country, good country in Marbury, Alabama, to look at a job.
It's a nice
I've been
spot.
stuck in the store all day doing bids. When they call, I said, I'm on my way. I'm heading to you now.
Well, and
You know me, I'm like a squirrel. I can't be in one place long.
well, and this is why when you get that call at 285-8117, when you say we'll come out and do the free in-home measurement, like often this is like, I want that call. I need that call. I want to get out of the office.
Please throw me a bone. Call. I will come running, or we're all ready to run. I was talking to one of the guys there, and I said, Fallon wants to be a doctor. I'm like, I don't think she's thinking this through. You're going to be stuck in a small office the rest of your life. I couldn't do it. All day long.
Yeah, all day long. It's no fun.
Yeah, a couple hours? Yeah, maybe. All day long? No. And don't forget, we've got our summer snow going on. We've got laminate tile and carpet at $1.39 a square foot, cash and carry.
Wow. Okay. Laminate tile and carpet. Okay. Folks, get by there or just call them up again. That's 285-8117. It's as simple as that. And when you call them up at 285-8117, be sure to say, hey, I heard Ray Bowles on the radio with that Joey Clark fellow.
Hey, have a great afternoon.
You too, Ray. Talk again soon. Well, it looks like we got some calls rolling in here. Let's go to line 1. You're on there. Who's this?
Hey, this is Sam calling from Pike County.
Hey, Sam.
And,
How are you
hey,
doing?
Pamela.
Hey, Sam.
I'm doing very well. Yeah, I'm having a very good day here on the farm, watching the corn grow. And I always like to, Joey, I've mentioned this before, but one of the best things that I got exposed to through the First Presbyterian Church there locally was the pre-marriage course. I'm sure that the churches, and I'm sure that Catholics.
My uncle has married a lot of people as a priest, and he puts people quite through the ringer. He's told many folks, like,
Right.
I'm not marrying you, and if you live together, that's not cool. Like, you have to, because you get in a routine when you live together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you need that breather to really think about this.
And the questions that there's no gotchas. It's things that you will be exposed to. Where will you spend the holidays? Money. Will one person be doing the accounting? How? It just all it goes right down the list, and it just it helps a young couple to think. But which is part of why I called in. See, now, Pamela, I just turned 60. I'm retired military, and I fit the profile for. I'm considering my dating options.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
I need to get back out there, and I'm thinking 1%er biker club. I think that oh Lord, through the church sure is nice.
Wait a minute. You want some lady with a big old hog that can take you up to Sturgis?
Well, no, I want one that's already used to negotiating and we're talking about the prenup. The bikers, they got the rules and stuff, and my old lady. And remember, it's not a girlfriend; it's my old lady. But so I'm preparing myself for that next stage of my life.
Very responsible of you.
Yeah,
You finally figured it out in your 60s.
Hey, look here, Clark. Sure did enjoy your monologues and your radioing today. Your radioing. So thank y'all.
Yeah, I was radioing something fierce. There are times where I'm like, I don't know if I can keep doing this. But I was like, no, I'm just going to push on through.
Sometimes I listen to you when you're in this room by yourself, and I'm just like, I don't know how he just talks to himself for hours. I just couldn't do it.
Oh, and I hold back.
I know.
Like if I could just let whatever's coming to mind, it would be. I don't think I would have this show anymore. You keep telling me to do an uncensored show, and I'm like,
I know.
I think even that behind a paywall, I might not have this job anymore.
You could though. You could do both.
Yeah.
But yeah, once you go Joey Clark After Dark.
Yeah. I don't know if folks are ready. I ain't ready.
No, I don't know.
I ain't ready. So happy hour coming up next.
Coming up.
And y'all stream now, right?
We do. On YouTube
Okay.
and on Greg's Facebook. So
Okay.
look up Greg Budell on Facebook or Happy Hour with Greg Budell on YouTube.
And I see Master Thespian here in the studio.
Hello, everyone.
How are
So
you?
glad to be here.
What is that?
Listen to the immortal Joey Clark.
What is that
Dispense
voice?
with-
I don't know. It's
It
I
just
got a lot
came
of
to
voices
him.
inside of me. I got the Jewish guy. Yeah, Joey, how you doing?
Yeah, I listened to that Joey guy. I just didn't feel safe.
But I love listening to you. It is fun. It is fun listening to the Joey Clark show because you never really know what you're going to get.
That's true.
That's the fun part.
That's very true. But y'all stay tuned. These two will be joining Greg Budell. Happy Hour is next.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusada, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. The United States halting its airstrikes on Houthi rebels in Yemen. President Trump announced the end of the bombing campaign, saying the Houthis capitulated and they don't want to fight anymore.